Watch this guy just touch a sword and instantly learn master blacksmith skills. Pretty insane, right? Zero hammer experience, yet he crafts literal god-tier weapons like a total pro. Even the most veteran blacksmiths are left completely speechless, watching his godlike technique like they just saw a forging deity. But just yesterday, Wu Jin was just a totally normal kid, tricked by a buddy into eating a giant poisonous mushroom on a dumb dare. The result? Bro completely tripped out and hit the ceiling. In his daze, he hallucinated that he was Wu Jin, the one and only absolute god of metallurgy. This legend spent 25 years forging 5 divine swords, using them to ascend right into the heavenly god realm. But while everyone was busy congratulating his massive success, a tiny accident sent wine splashing right into his face. Wu Jin instantly jolted awake from his deep toxic trip. Suddenly, a loud yell echoes out, "Absolute quack doctor! Are you curing me with needles or drilling a hole? This hurts like crazy." A super wealthy nobleman storms out of their family clinic, absolutely seeing red. Xiaozong quickly tries explaining, complaining that these royal officials are just impossible to please, flexing their power with a totally garbage attitude. He rushes back inside, finding his dad looking super depressed, holding an acupuncture needle. It wasn't that his medical skills were actually bad, but the cheap knockoff needle had completely bent out of shape. Now watch closely. He suddenly hears a really weird sound coming from it. He had no clue what it was. It was perfectly fine just this morning, or was it an after effect of his trip? Wu Jin grips the needle, literally shaking with pure angry frustration. How can this garbage even be called a needle? He walks away, staring intensely at the 2 broken needles, growing more annoyed by the second, without knowing exactly why. Walking the streets, these trash market items give us all a massive headache. A huge downgrade from those epic top-tier swords crafted by actual grandmasters. He strokes a blade, feeling an incredibly bizarre surge of pure joy. The local girls spot him and totally think he's a creep. Then Wu Jin finally realizes something massive. Could that Wu Jin dream from this morning be the real reason why he can suddenly see the true craftsmanship of a forging grandmaster? Trust me, we are about to witness his absolute forging magic unfold. Stick with me right here. Driven by his own intense curiosity, Wu Jin walks straight into the blacksmith shop for proof. He brings 2 needles right over to Shizi Sheng, the son of master blacksmith Shi Yezhong, asking about their quality but getting absolutely chewed out instead. Like you know anything about forging. The guy points at a massive sword pile. Enlighten me on exactly what I am missing right here. Fast as lightning, Wu Jin grabs the highest tier swords and throws them right in front of him. Shi Sheng is totally stunned. How did this kid recognize the exact weapons his own father had personally forged? Trying to cover up his own embarrassment, Shi Sheng tells him to do it himself if he's so great. Now watch closely, he was waiting for that. Moving instantly, he throws wood in and blasts the flames. Relying purely on knowledge from his wild dreams, he decides to finally give it a shot. Every single hammer strike he swings down is somehow both slow and fast. It's so unbelievably flawless that Shi Sheng totally panics, like he has been forging his entire life. His skills are just as monstrous as my father's. In a flash, he literally hallucinates the legendary Wu Jin forging the blade with his own hands. You feel that insane talent, right? More, give me more, I want to witness every single strike. Then Wu Jin abruptly stops, claiming that was just a simple warm-up routine. Right after, he perfectly crafts a masterpiece needle set for his old man's clinic to practice with. From then on, high-ranking officials visiting his clinic leave feeling completely satisfied, praising him endlessly. Some patients finish their acupuncture but feel like they haven't even been poked, so perfectly comfortable, with absolutely zero pain involved. It is honestly nothing short of miraculous. Just like that, his family's clinic spreads an insane reputation and slowly becomes the most famous in town. Massive crowds of people show up every single day for treatment, packing the entire line. Suddenly, some arrogant jerk aggressively cuts the line. The loud scuffling sounds make him run outside to check. Trust me, this swordsman radiates pure, unfiltered danger, aiming straight at the other guy. Watch closely, his movements are absolute lightning. If you want to know his name, here he is. Bam! Swift blade strikes instantly carve into that guy's chest. The title Kuei Wai. Perfect precision, just slicing skin without dealing a fatal blow. Votan instantly realizes this old guy is top tier. That name Kuei Wai rings an eerie bell. Connecting the face, sheer panic hits him like a truck. He is the clinic butcher, an insanely dangerous threat right here. A legendary wandering master of the martial world. ranked as one of the realm's top 3 medical experts. Total eccentric freak. He judges who lives and dies using healing arts and sharp blades. In this exact moment, every single victim around him simply meets their brutal end, facing ruthless judgment without caring about good or evil. Now pay attention, this guy is a mass murderer. He slaughtered dozens of innocent healers across the Central Plains. Watching this horrific scene, Wotan completely loses his cool. Eyes wide open, he whispers internally, "Father is in terrible danger." Then Wotan fiercely stares, right on to Lai Trung's back. He lets out an absolute roar. Kneeling hard on the bricks, Wotan frowns with pure rage, screaming out with pure fury. You see it too? That is his father's consciousness. Anxiety eating him alive, he desperately reaches out, trying to dash straight across the room. "Father!" Suddenly, Chan Tong clamps a heavy hand on his shoulder, completely stopping the young warrior in his tracks. Wotan freezes up, snapping his head right back, catching Chan Tong speaking up in this chaos. "Listen, Wotan." The master grinds his teeth, fighting back his own intense rage. "We cannot fight him right now." Ching Chung's sect master, Chan Tong. Hearing this makes Wotan incredibly confused. He frantically waves his arms in front of the master. "Master, why on earth are you saying we cannot fight? What if the branch leader steps in? Can you stop this?" Cold sweat rapidly drips down Chan Tong's stressed face. He shuts his eyes in painful hesitation. "Trust me on this, even my master cannot stop Kuei Wai." Wotan hesitates, nervously cutting Chan Tong off. "Stick with me here, the ghost doctor is pure evil." Seeing this panic, the old man just shakes his head. "Even my master back then actually used the ghost doctor to save the Thanthan sect master." Wotan's face instantly fills with absolute shock. His eyes go wide, remembering the shadowy figure of the branch master. Wait, his life was really saved by that crazy doctor? Losing all his strength, Wotan totally collapses right beside Chan Tong. He drops his head, completely defeated. You can hear a heavy, choked sob escaping his throat. Chan Tong quietly pats him. "Father," he cries out in pure despair. The older man's hand rests super gently right on Wotan's shoulder. He finally speaks up. "Do not stress too much over that guy's terrible dark reputation." Chan Tong states with total confidence, while staring straight at those giant bright red doors. "The ghost doctor I met was definitely a total weirdo, but he is absolutely not some evil monster." Now watch closely as Lai Trung slams those double doors wide open. They fly completely apart. Lai Trung confidently walks right in, flashing a smile with a super fierce, unwavering look. Meanwhile, Wotan is staring intensely at Lai Trung's legendary sword, never blinking even once. He gets crazy excited noticing the older warrior's sleeves. They are literally completely spotless. Wotan mutters under his breath. The sleeves are perfectly clean. Only then does the young guy let out a massive breath, closing his eyes in pure, utter relief. Thank goodness for that. Suddenly, Lai Trung speaks up, forcefully slapping his heavy hand right onto Wotan's shoulder. "Hey, you and I know that mysterious smile means serious business. Rumor says you have an amazing doctor around, who is also a legendary local blacksmith, right?" Lai Trung leans in uncomfortably close to whisper his question. "You know exactly who, right?" Hearing this, his entire body starts violently shaking. He totally submits and answers him, "Yes, of course I do." Lai Trung looks incredibly satisfied with this. He pats his shoulder again and commands, "Is that so? Then lead the way for me." Wotan shoots a quick nervous glance at him, before instantly rushing to obey. Yes, and that is where we leave it, eyes locked on that sword, the item he actually wore. Sweat was just pouring all over Wotan's face. He fought hard to push down his panic. But stick with me, watch Wotan jump out of his skin hearing Lai Trung suddenly bark out, "Hey!" He quickly whipped his head to the side. Then Lai Trung flashed this incredibly creepy, spine-chilling smirk at him. "Why haven't you left? I'm insanely busy." This whole awkward scene made Wotan even more nervous. He gritted his teeth, stammering out, "Yes." Thick smoke shot up from the wooden cabin, pitch black and completely blinding. Right at that exact second, Lai Trung reacted. Now watch closely, he points across the room, looking absolutely blown away. "You're telling me your father didn't make this, but you actually forged it yourself?" Wotan nervously wrung his hands together tight, then offered a polite little smile and nodded, "Yes." Hearing that made Lai Trung burst into an absolute roar. He threw his head back, yelling with excitement, "Exactly right. The most insane freaks in the world all gather right here in Sichuan." Spit was literally flying everywhere out of his mouth. But Lai Trung seriously could not care less. Now, a doctor's kid is actually messing around with metal forging. That massive muscular guy standing next to him, you're probably wondering what he asked. Who is this guy? Votan hurriedly covered his mouth, whispering the truth. He's from the underground martial world. Meanwhile, Lai Trung was laughing so hard he started crying. He quickly brought up a hand to wipe his happy tears. Who really cares who does what around here? It's been forever since I laughed this hard. Your name is Tang Votan, right? I need you to forge 30 of these hairpins. Then Lai Trung pulled out some seriously blinding, sparkling gold, completely dazzling Votan and his buddy on the spot. Consider this piece your advance payment. Both of them were totally stunned, their eyes bulging as they stared at the shiny gold. Lai Trung tossed the ingot, and Votan instantly caught it with both his hands, bowing deeply in respect while blurting out, "Thank you so much, my lord. Please, stay here and have a meal. I'll have this fully finished right before sunset." And that's where we leave it. Lai Trung frowns, looking absolutely stunned now. Li Chong's voice suddenly rings out. Finished before the sun sets today? Wu Jin quickly nods his head. Absolutely right. Stick with me here. The old man just cannot believe his ears. Not several months from now, but literally today? Meanwhile, Wu Jin stays completely calm and answers, exactly. Hearing this, he tilts his head, sizing him up. Even a top master blacksmith needs several months for this. Holding the pure gold in his hands, Wu Jin smiles incredibly brightly. His eyes are basically glued to that piece of gold. I can absolutely finish it up today. Li Chong frowns, looking super annoyed. He totally shows his open disgust and pure contempt on his face. That item is seriously no joke, and it is definitely not pre-made either. Can you believe he promised to finish it today? This greedy kid is definitely lying just to get the gold. Meanwhile, Wu Jin is still totally lost, staring at the shiny gold. Now that I am starting, your hairpin will easily outshine the one my father made, and be way more detailed. Then, he clenches his fist to show off his total confidence. Wu Jin speaks in a totally serious tone. Do not worry, old sir. I will absolutely pull this off. The big muscular guy standing nearby points right at him and throws out a compliment. Yeah, this guy can actually pull it off. Now watch closely. The vibe between them goes completely dead quiet. Li Chong carefully watches both of them right now. Then suddenly, he violently whips back his purple cloak, leaving Wu Jin staring in pure shock. The sword on his back radiates this absolutely crazy, invisible pressure, scaring absolutely everyone around him. A few drops of sweat slowly roll down Wu Jin's cheeks. His eyes widen, secretly thinking to himself, I was so distracted by the gold I forgot his blade. While he is physically shaking from the pure fear, Li Chong just calmly sits right down on the chair. He shoots Wu Jin a totally serious warning glare, paired with a seriously dangerous smile. Go ahead and try, but fail and you are dead. Wu Jin's super high-pitched scream flies up, soaring even higher than the smoke from the chimney. Yes, sparks suddenly blast from the chimney. Trust me, you want what is next. Stick with me, watch these wild flames dancing around the dry wood. At that exact moment, Lai Trung silently watches Votan and his partner grinding away at their hard work. A sudden thought flashes right through the old man. He remembers the absolute perfection of those legendary needles, pulling hundreds of steel wires, grinding every single one, then picking out the ones without any bends. That alone is the absolute hardest part. Right in front of Lai Trung is Votan, raising his heavy hammer high to forge the needle. Duong Man's secret needles. They definitely cannot be forged by pure dumb luck. Let me see this with my own eyes. His gaze locks entirely onto that single arm. Votan holding that hammer with crazy power. This guy's a doctor, so why are his muscles absolutely jacked like that? Could it be? Watch closely now. A massive, sudden bang echoes out. It instantly grabs all of the old man's attention. Thick black smoke rises higher and higher into the air. Along with the heavy sound of brutal forging, Votan tightens his fierce grip on that hammer, then swings it up high. Lai Trung flinches back. He stares wide-eyed at that insane hammer swing, smashing down directly onto the metal bar. You saw that too, right? Pure shock flashing in his eyes. Votan flexes those massive muscles, especially while using raw power to grind that solid metal. The hammer strikes down, against a piece of metal heated to a glowing red. Then he uses tongs to fold it right in half. Next up, he endlessly hammers it down to make it even thinner. Votan throws the metal piece down violently, at the exact same time swinging his hammer up high. This epic scene reflects perfectly and clearly, deep inside the eyes of Li Trung. Votan speaks up with a calm voice, right while the chimney keeps pumping out the heavy smoke. Sorry to keep you waiting. Despite the sweat dripping all over his exhausted face, he still throws out a cheerful smile. Here are the needles you ordered. Trust me, that excited look makes Votan and us completely hyped. Let's dive into this wild shocker. He tightly grips the heavy gold. What? You want me as your disciple? Votan quickly stumbles backward in panic. He cautiously eyes the older man up and down. Then he asks a hesitant question. Why me of all people? Lai Trung gives a very brief explanation. Why else? You don't look like someone just rotting away in a clinic. He furrows his brows real tight. At the same time, Lai Trung flashes a wild, threatening smirk. What, you don't want to? Hearing this, Votan quickly avoids the old man's intense gaze. He panics so much he starts stuttering. No, it's not like I'm refusing, just… Votan rubs his chin, thinking. He lowers his head, pondering before finally voicing his real thoughts. I'm just getting used to blacksmithing, and you mentioned taking a disciple. But what could I possibly even learn from you? Now pay attention, because this master finds that question absolutely hilarious. He smirks and replies, You ask what you can learn? In a flash, Li Trung moves his hand. He swiftly grabs the sword hilt by his side. At that exact moment, a brilliant light flashes right between his fingers. Votan is left completely wide-eyed in shock. Lai Trung just stands perfectly calm and delivers his grand answer. I can pass down two very specific things. Votan crosses his arms and quietly mumbles, What exactly are they? A thick trail of white smoke rises from the blazing furnace. Droplets of water are still lingering right there. The muscular guy suddenly starts freaking out completely when he sees 3 sharp acupuncture needles pinned deep in his shoulder. Wait, since when were those pinned? Watch his pure terror as he sees this. The tables and chairs around him completely shattered. Then he snaps his head toward the older man beside him. That would be martial arts and top-tier healing. Lai Trung just smirks with absolute, smug confidence. He raises an eyebrow and drops the big offer. So, do you want to learn? Hearing this, Votan bites his lip to hold back his excitement. We all know exactly what is crossing his mind. Becoming the disciple of an absolute peak martial master, plus one of the top 3 legendary healers in the world. It seems like, stick with me, we are exploring a massive, breathtaking ancient city. And he stands right at the gates. Is this not his golden ticket to learn martial arts and medicine? Plus, even with a terrible reputation involved, becoming the weird doctor's official personal disciple means the Ching Chung sect will never dare look down on their clinic again. But then his voice suddenly breaks the silence, heavy with genuine doubt. Why would the old master casually hand over such an epic opportunity? Li Chong replies in a calm voice. Since you travel with a blacksmith, being super quick and skilled is incredibly convenient. Wu Jin physically cringes, throwing a very timid side glance at him. Is it really just for that? Seeing this, Li Chong throws an arm around him, proposing a trade. I will teach you both martial arts and medicine. Is that not a sweet deal? Wu Jin's face instantly goes pale. He is sweating bullets but somehow manages to stay perfectly polite. Now pay attention here, this is no master and disciple bond, just a deal. Li Chong warmly rests his heavy arm on his shoulder. Deal or no deal, it makes absolutely zero difference here. Suddenly, he points straight ahead while flashing a sly smile, testing his brand new student. A patient possessed by evil energy, with completely chaotic blood and chi, body cold as pure ice. Shaking arms and trembling legs. What do you do? How exactly would you treat them? Hearing this pop quiz, Wu Jin immediately stands up completely straight. He gives a dead serious answer. First, clear the internal dampness. Then prescribe a mix of poria and sweet licorice root. Li Chong looks incredibly satisfied, nodding his head over and over again. Excellent, you easily passed the test. You saw that coming, right? He grabs Wu Jin's shoulder again, and continues his friendly chatting. Anyone who memorized the cold damage manual and the inner canon is totally qualified to learn martial arts. Wu Jin feels super shy but forces a painfully awkward smile. How are those two things even remotely related? The master then speaks up. Did you think martial arts was only about pure physical strength? Wu Jin's face is absolutely filled with pure, unfiltered shock. Upon hearing Li Chong's crazy words, as he blurts out, try teaching a complete fool and see. At that exact moment. And that is where we leave it, pinching an acupuncture needle right at Wu Jin. Listen up. Imagine true power served on a golden platter. He wouldn't even notice it. Those arrogant fools just blindly flail around. In the end, they stay completely ordinary. Votan muttered under his breath. Completely ordinary. Lai Trung opened his hand and patiently explained the truth. Like these needles, how could mere mortals understand their absolute brilliance? Suddenly, Votan locked his eyes intensely right onto Lai Trung. He hesitated, quietly calling out, "So, old master." His voice carried a heavy mix of pure anxiety and raw determination. Could I ever actually become a top-tier martial arts master? Lai Trung was definitely taken aback hearing his bold little question. He slowly repeated the crazy words, "Top tier?" Now pay close attention as Votan stumbles out that door. Lai Trung's deep voice still echoed loudly in his ears. True talent reveals itself naturally. You should understand my meaning. He clenched both his hands tightly into shaking fists. Votan gritted his teeth, spelling it out. At the very least, his face showed absolute, unbreakable resolve. Votan took slow steps away from that big building. A massive spark of real hope seemed to flash in his eyes. Votan laughed out loud with pure excitement. I will absolutely reach the ultimate peak realm. He instantly threw a sharp punch right into the empty air. Then Votan quickly spun around and launched a high-flying kick. You hear him yelling, throwing those wild martial arts stances? Hype. He was in absolute peak excitement. But suddenly, Votan's ankle totally lost balance and twisted out of nowhere. Right after that, he completely tumbled down onto the dirt. Even so, Votan just laughed it off with pure joy. Suddenly, his old man walked up and stood right beside his boy. Votan hurriedly scrambled to his feet, while obediently bowing his head down to greet his father respectfully. I came back pretty late. That bright smile was still shining clearly on his young face, even standing right before him. Out of nowhere, Votan's father reached out his hand. That violently shaking hand clamped right onto Votan's shoulder. This instantly made the kid feel incredibly anxious and worried. He urgently reached out to support the old man's arm. Father, are you doing all right today? He raised his head, revealing tired eyes completely filled with heavy tears. And that's it, his dad gritting his teeth, stuttering heartbreaking words. Stick with me here. His dad was terrified he left with the ghost doctor. The old man's frail body is literally shaking. He thought this guy was just another curious, wandering martial artist. Are you absolutely safe, son? Wu Jin just smiles, calmly reassuring his worried father. Yeah, the doctor isn't nearly as terrifying as those rumors. Supporting his dad's weight, Wu Jin carefully helps the trembling old man step inside their home. Thank goodness. Zhen Zong said the exact same thing. As long as you're okay. But why on earth keep him at the forge so long? Wu Jin lowers his voice. Well, the truth is, the second the words leave his mouth, his father freezes, sinking into intense, heavy thought. He actually wants to make me his disciple. I have until tomorrow to give him my answer. A single drop of nervous sweat rolls right down his cheek. He anxiously watches the old man for any reaction. Watch closely, this doctor is no joke. Suddenly wanting a true master and disciple bond. Wu Jin suddenly realizes his father's fragile body is shaking even more violently than before. Panic sets in. Father, are you all right? His hand completely stops right in midair, forcing an awkward smile at the frozen old man. Why did you just suddenly go quiet? Out of nowhere, he just completely ignores Wu Jin and sprints right back inside the house. Completely panicked, Wu Jin reaches out to grab him, yelling, Father! I know what you're thinking, but seconds later, the old man rushes right back out. Clutched tightly in his father's shaking hands are literal silver ingots, shining incredibly bright, neatly wrapped in white cloth. Completely stunned, Wu Jin takes it. He stares blankly at the money, looking up totally confused. Why give me all this heavy silver right now? His dad's face is dead serious as he gives the order. Pack your things and leave. Wu Jin freezes. His eyes go wide as he hesitates to clarify. Wait, just leave? But Dad, we are already extremely short on hands at home. He lets out a heavy sigh, trying to rationally explain this away. Plus, the guy's literally called the ghost doctor. Maybe this whole disciple thing is a massive joke. That's where we leave it suddenly. His dad reaches out. He mutters under his breath. Lacking manpower means absolutely nothing. Let's dive right in. Votan's father places a heavy hand onto his shoulder. He leans in dangerously close and growls, You are completely free to leave. But only at this exact moment, Votan. Hearing those very words, Votan's eyes go completely wide, overflowing with pure, intense gratitude. It feels like he is staring right at that massive ancient tree all over again. His father stands perfectly still, just leaning against that thick trunk. A soft, warm breeze gently rustles through Votan's hair. He just quietly takes everything all in. But those words? They suddenly make everything click perfectly. A beautiful scene of butterflies dancing right around the ancient tree, flashes beautifully right before Votan's very own eyes. Realizing that his father was also a fiery young man once, Votan tightly shuts his eyes right now. Watch this closely. Sitting on the grass, he feels pure spiritual energy flooding into his body. After exactly 2 days of grinding hard at martial arts, he successfully unlocks his very first internal energy circuit. For the first time ever, his whole body feels every single meridian point. 3 days pass, then 4 whole days. His inner power is weak, but clearly stacking up bit by bit. As the days stretch out, his hair floats up, carried by the sheer magical aura around him. Votan slowly opens his eyes after completely merging that raw spiritual energy. How should he even describe this feeling? He feels way stronger. No, he just officially leveled up to the next tier. Sitting right beneath the tree, you see that insane magic aura wrapping right around his body? He mutters to himself quietly, "This is absolutely my only chance to step away." Just this exact moment. His chest swells with pure gratitude as he softly whispers, "Thank you, Father." Suddenly, Lai Trung throws a hard chestnut straight down at him, following it with a quick question. "Well, are you already missing your hometown right now?" He totally ignores the small chestnut bouncing right off his own head and simply looks straight up, locking eyes with Lai Trung to reply, "Not at all, old man." Sitting up in the branches, he rests his hand, staring intently at Votan. Votan springs right up, clenching his fists super tight, excitedly sharing, "My internal energy feels way more powerful today than it did yesterday. Trust me on this." Lai Trung jumps right down to face him, dropping a solid compliment. "Good. This gets really interesting. Stick with me." Votan couldn't hide his excitement, asking, "Just like the old man said, I actually have talent, right?" He smirked, his sharp eyes shifting over to evaluate him. "Your talent is perfectly average. Your internal energy gathering speed is completely average too." Votan flashed a massive, bright, and confident grin, throwing a quick punch to show off his daily progress. "Normally, ordinary people take 10 whole days to finish a minor cycle, but I completely blew past that level in just a few days." His whole body literally brimmed with pure, positive energy, dreaming big about his absolute peak. "It must be from those wild, crazy illusions. They basically gifted me a ton of martial arts talent." Lai Trung wondered in pure confusion. Gifted martial talent? He grabbed a real sword and tossed it right over. Startled, the boy's eyes widened huge as he caught the blade. Then Lai Trung casually picked up a simple wooden stick. "Watch closely now." He smiled, pointing the stick at him, suggesting calmly, "If you are that confident, swing the sword. I will guide you. If you can just cut my robe, I will literally carry you straight out of Sichuan." Lai Trung stared right back at him with absolute, unbothered pride. Votan slowly drew his blade. The steel reflected his pale, nervous face as he stammered, "Really? You mean it?" He suddenly lost his nerve completely while holding a live, deadly weapon, blurting out his panicked thoughts aloud. "But this is an actual, real sword. It is way too sharp. One wrong hit means instant death." Cold sweat dripped down Votan's completely pale, terrified face, arguing back, "No, wait, I can do this." He suddenly pictured an epic image of himself, attacking with absolute, flawless sword mastery and speed. "I have been improving for 10 days straight. Maybe I can." We both know it's dumb, but an idea flashed in his head. What if I land a surprise hit while he is distracted? His eyes lit up instantly. While Lai Trung turned his back to pick his ear, he charged forward, sword ready. The old man didn't even flinch. Casually blowing his finger, he muttered, "Striking first for the win." Lai Trung stomped his foot hard into the dirt. Trust me, the massive aura that erupted was terrifying. 10 days of training and you are already this arrogant? Stick with me here. Votan narrows his eyes, roaring as he launches his attack. But the old man? Just completely chilling. He turns around and casually grabs a wooden stick. Votan's razor-sharp sword blade swings down. It clashes violently against Lai Trung's solid wooden branch. He instantly grips the hilt tighter, pushing hard, throwing all his strength into the strike, but panic completely takes over his mind. Steel slashing against wood, so why does it feel exactly like hitting solid iron? He cannot leave even a single scratch on it. Lai Trung watches his shocked expression and gives a brutal order. "Clench your teeth real tight." His eyes go wide with pure confusion. "Clench my teeth?" The old man smirks. "You need to see this." He smiles dangerously, channeling spiritual energy into the wood. Votan's eyes bulge when he senses that terrifying surge of magic, bursting from the wooden stick. Is this a chi current? He raises an eyebrow, clenching his jaw as he guesses. Like flowing water? Absolutely not. Heavy drops of cold sweat raced down Votan's terrified face, pouring down endlessly against Lai Trung's overwhelming raw strength. It is infinitely stronger now. A second later, the old master violently sends Votan flying backward. Right in the forest, a massive cloud of thick smoke billows up fiercely. He props himself on the grass, literally vomiting from that insane impact. Lai Trung casually lifts the stick, looking down at Votan. How does it feel? Is your first time tasting real internal energy fun? He wipes his mouth, shifting his glaring eyes over to the old man. We both felt that hit, right? Votan goes pale, yelling in pure frustration. This is just completely absurd. Isn't the guy with the most internal energy supposed to be the strongest? Lai Trung bursts out laughing, actually agreeing with him just a little bit. You are somewhat right to think so. Lai Trung rests the wooden stick on his shoulder, looking down to give Votan a quick explanation. I do not have abundant internal energy either, so I still try to avoid direct power clashes. But martial arts is never that simple. Why are you so hot-headed? After all, you are literally just a healer right now. He wonders out loud, raising a serious question. Or is there someone specific you really want to punish? That is where we leave it. Votan stands up, completely defeated. You told me you would train me into an ultimate master, but if we just rely on this weak internal energy, I will achieve absolutely nothing in this entire lifetime. Hearing this, Lai Trung instantly swung his wooden sword, smacking him incredibly hard right on the head. Pointing straight at Votan's face, he drops a lesson we need to hear. Even with very little chi, and zero flashy combat moves, there are countless paths to reaching the absolute top tier. When you took my energy attack just now, you actually tried channeling chi into your blade to block it, before pulling it back, right? Seeing the kid completely stunned, Lai Trung continued. That is one valid path. Come on, let's try again. I will not use any inner energy today. Sweating heavily, Votan bit his lip, glaring back with pure resolve. He regained his fighting spirit, raised his blade, and squeezed out the words, all right then. His brows furrowed deeply, burning with an absolute, fiery determination. He planted his feet firmly into the grass. A second later, he leaps toward the master. Watch this move closely. Raising his practice blade up high, eyes wide, he charged at Lai Trung with a fierce growl. I will get my revenge. The master frowned, casually closing his eyes while raising his stick to block. Seeing this sudden defensive shift, his face immediately lit up with secret, inward joy. A clean hit, but suddenly, Lai Trung completely vanished, delivering a lightning-fast strike straight to his unprotected forehead. The battle ended instantly, as his sword slipped and he crashed hard into the solid dirt. Lai Trung looks at his completely beaten face, and I know what you're thinking. He just lets out a laugh. Even without chi, you would be dead 3 times over by now, right? He squatted down low, resting a hand on his knee, analyzing Votan as he spoke. Your speed at gathering inner energy is not exactly fast yet. Tapping his head lightly, the master calmly evaluated his raw physical traits. You do not have the physical body that can unleash massive, explosive bursts of raw power. Votan just stared intently, desperately waiting for the next words. But spreading his arms wide, he reveals a strength you and I never expected. You have your own unique advantage. Your sensory perception for inner chi is incredibly sharp, allowing for fast and extremely precise control. Stick with me, his swordplay is totally third-rate, but channeling inner ki directly into that blade just now? That definitely hits the second-rate martial artist level. The old man offered some genuine encouragement. Keep exploring like this, and you will eventually find your path. Lai Trung smiled until his eyes vanished, stroking his chin with high praise. Reaching this level in just 10 days is absolutely excellent progress. Votan kept his head down, trembling all over as he blurted out, You mean? He suddenly looked right up, tightly clenching both his fists, completely bursting with vibrant energy as he cried out, Am I really a second-rate martial artist already? Lai Trung instantly furrowed his brows, smacking Votan right on the head, saying, I shouldn't have praised you at all. Burning with fierce determination, he yelled, No, I am an absolute genius. Both their expressions freeze up. Watch what happens next. They snap their eyes toward that sudden rustling noise. Staring at the blurry figure in the distance, he guessed, Is it a wild beast? Lai Trung immediately shut that down. No, 2 legs. It's human. He and Votan sneaked behind the bushes, peeking at the mysterious forest wanderer. Cat Jiwai glanced over to his left, was completely unaware that 2 very suspicious guys were currently tracking his every move. Votan was quick to notice it, spotting the 3 distinct knots tied right on his belt. 3 tightly secured knots. Lai Trung's face suddenly grew incredibly stiff and tense, lowering his voice to grimly ask, "Why would a whole branch leader appear deep in these random mountains?" He completely panicked. We all felt that one. A branch leader? Doesn't that mean an absolute top-tier master? Votan gasped in complete shock. A bizarre plague? Cat Joy flashed a bright smile, clasping his hands in a polite greeting. Exactly. A massive plague is currently ravaging our village. People are dying everywhere, so I must fetch a doctor from another place. Having you agree to come along is a truly rare blessing. Hong Cat Jioi, the esteemed branch leader of Chu Ap village. He was super confused. Even if you somehow got lost, how could a simple 2-hour trip somehow take you half a freaking day to walk? Cat Jioi awkwardly scratched his head, gesturing forward as he clumsily explained, "Because I have literally never left Chu Ap village in my entire life." Votan gripped his strap tightly and replied, "Luckily for you, it seems you haven't caught that nasty plague." Cat Joy started walking right up ahead, dipping his head in pure sadness. "My master and I barely escaped it, roughly 1 single month ago. Everyone in the village was slowly wasting away. Stick with me here, they thought it was just coughing. Just your standard spring cold, right? Wrong. Half the village got infected, and about 20 people just dropped dead. Amidst the roaring flames, the remaining men carried the dead bodies away for burial." Kak Juoi, wearing a heavy bag around his neck, looked back at the villagers with pure regret and continued, "I actually wanted to escape with the others, running from this terrifying plague." The dark circles under his eyes showed just how exhausted he was. "But I have lived in this land my entire life. I just could not abandon my people here. So my master and I stayed behind to save everyone." Kak Juoi explained his original plan with a heavy heart. "At first, we worked right alongside the local village healer, but all our medicine completely ran out." He remembered the exact instructions the doctor gave him before climbing the mountain for herbs. His master told him to watch the patients super carefully until he made his return. "I will return in a few days. Just hold on a little bit longer. Now pay attention here." His brows and eyes drop, showing pure, unfiltered panic. But the deadline passed, and there is still no sign of his master anywhere. That spirit herb must be seriously impossible to find. Kak Juai suddenly dropped his depressing look, cheerfully turning back and clasping his hands in thanks. "I truly thank you, great and noble healers. Because of you guys, our path is finally much clearer." Votan stood right there with Lai Trung and him, staring at the creepy houses in the distance. "We finally made it, so brace yourselves." Hong Qian weakly opened his door and whispered, "Please, enter." Hong Qian, the actual protector of Chu Ap village. The old man stepped inside, and Votan followed right behind him. Lying on a thin white cloth was a young boy, completely drenched in sweat. Eyes shut tight, his entire body covered in disgusting boils. He squatted down, lifting the boy's hand to check out the brutal situation. A second later, Votan let go of the hand, just staring blankly at the sweat left on his fingers. His eyebrows locked tightly together. His eyes go wide, and trust me, you are not ready for this diagnosis. Just from the pulse. Let's check this out. Sweaty, sticky skin, and a dangerously weak pulse. His ears are burning hot, but hands stay freezing. Fire energy is rushing straight to his head. Votan turns to the guy next to him, asking, "Has this little kid thrown up yet?" The man holds a cloth up to his nose, listing the exact symptoms without any hesitation. "Yeah, he complained about headaches and serious dizziness." Lai Trung stands right over there, her hand on his chin, closely watching him examine the sick boy. He listens deeply as Votan delivers his medical diagnosis: damp heat pulse, severe restless energy, mixed with heavy vomiting. "This is a serious plague, old master." The man looks completely confused. "So what exactly is this disease? And what is the cure?" Watch closely as he seriously analyzes this condition. It looks a lot like extreme heat poison, but it's not, because it is missing that signature harsh, strong smell. Votan slightly moves his hand, explaining just how deadly this sickness really is. If we just let the fire energy hit his brain, he will go blind or lose his mind. We must needle lamb cap, the muk song, Qingxing, Tuoling, and Naohong. For meds, track the symptoms and use Mok Mondong, Kualao Nyun, Cat Kun, and Boi Mao. Lai Trung strokes his beard, a proud smirk forming right on his lips. He finally drops the compliment. "You really studied the Noikin inside and out. So go ahead and try applying the needles yourself." You and I can see his shock. He absolutely cannot believe it. "Yes." Without wasting another second, he starts pulling his personal medical tools right out of his bag. Wotan raises a tiny razor-sharp needle high up into the air. Biting his trembling lip, one hand grips the needle while the other holds the kid's leg. Deep in thought, the lamb cap point is here, but I have never actually used needles. Can I do this? Lai Trung steps up closer, pointing 2 fingers down at Wotan's hand to transfer raw spirit energy. He raises an eyebrow, completely confused by what Lai Trung is doing right now, until he finally hears the master's explanation. Did you honestly think I taught you breathing techniques just for martial arts? As a true medical healer, someone who can feel subtle internal energy like you actually do is a rare gift. Wild twist, right? Wotan's eyes widen with pure, desperate hope. Lai Trung's insane magical aura covers the room, wrapping completely around him and the little boy. Let's watch. He checks the boy's forehead. A bright red aura suddenly flashes right there. He thinks hard. His master's energy is actually guiding his own flow right now. It feels just like seeing clear pebbles in a stream. Absolutely crystal clear, and he even spots the killing intent. A second later, Lai Trung pulls his fingers right back, pulling his intense energy back inside too. You felt that deadly killing intent, right? Yes, he answers. Wotan instantly focuses, following his master's exact words. Then place the needle. See how that toxic energy shifts around. He strikes a needle into the leg, making the boy cry out. Now pay attention here. Wotan shifts his energy. A gentle strike right below the boy's chest. Lai Trung watches his every single move. He is pinning needle after needle onto the kid's head. The moment he finishes, Wotan lifts his hand, wiping the heavy sweat dripping down his own forehead. His eyes shoot wide open, never taking his eyes off the little boy for a second. The boy twitches lightly, his breathing suddenly turning fast and completely erratic. Wotan's face drops into pure, heavy tension. The little kid opens his mouth and gasps, and coughs up a blast of red energy. You and I both felt that huge relief in his eyes. The boy's breathing finally steadies out, slowly drifting into a deep, peaceful sleep. The room goes dead silent. Everyone locks their absolute focus right onto the sleeping little kid. Wotan closes his eyes, letting out a massive, well-earned sigh of relief. He looks over, totally caught off guard. Lai Trung's heavy hand is resting proudly on his shoulder. Thank God! Wotan looks up at him and calls out, Respected elder. Lai Trung cracks a warm smile and speaks. Today has truly been one insanely long, tough day. You managed to grasp quite a lot today, didn't you? He stares right at his heavily sweat-drenched, exhausted face, giving huge praise for all the intense effort Wotan put in. After so many brutal trials, the way you look right now is your absolute peak, probably because you have finally become a true medical healer today. Meanwhile, outside the house, a dark shadow suddenly shows up. Trust me, this shady figure turning away means absolute trouble, as the guide leads, while also filling Wotan and Lai Trung in about the mysterious medical clinic. Are you really talking about this famous Dr. Im? Stick with me here. When the plague hit, this doctor blew his entire fortune saving everyone. He absolutely insisted on one thing. Only those crazy expensive herbs from distant lands would actually work. So he gave all his cash to the herb merchants. He grips his bag tightly. Amazed, he says, "What a truly kind-hearted doctor." The man fully agrees, adding on, "Yes, he really is." Hearing this, the whole village pooled their cash for when the merchants finally arrived. But deep in this mountain valley, herb merchants definitely do not just pass through every single day. Now watch closely. The old man's next words completely stun him. So the doctor actually went into the mountains himself, looking for herbs to just hold them over until then. Honestly, seeing that slacker Chu's son always goofing off out here, it really annoyed me. But if he had not led the doctor here today, I am afraid my son would not have made it. The old man laughs loudly, pointing toward the house up ahead while explaining. Thinking about my poor sick kid, all the burning anger inside me finally faded. Any more talk would just be dragging it out. So this right here is the house. It is empty, but it will not be too uncomfortable. After showing them the way, the old man turns and leaves. Please, go ahead and get some good solid rest. Wotan and Lai Trung calmly walk into the wooden house. We both saw that, right? His gaze stops on that old cabinet. Then Lai Trung shifts his sharp eyes over to the table, barely lit by the faint, weak light creeping in outside. Suddenly, he spots a tiny, dirty doll just rolling around right there near his feet. Lai Trung frowns slightly, a flash of pure suspicion crossing his face. He bends down, staring intensely at the doll on the bare floor. Lai Trung slowly picks it up. Meanwhile, Votan drops his heavy bag right on the bed. He softly blurts out a sudden, curious question. He really is a genuinely good doctor, is he not? Lai Trung jumps slightly as someone suddenly shatters the dead silence. Are you talking about Dr. Im right now? Votan throws his arms wide, looking left and then right. Full of admiration, he blurts, Yeah. And trust me, you and I know that meeting is coming soon. Let's dive in. In a town filled with such kind-hearted healers, how could a deadly plague possibly break out? Look at this place. Food and generous gifts piled up absolutely everywhere. Li Chong spots the delicious food being brought out and quickly gives a firm reminder. Okay, listen. Just eat what you actually need. When we leave, give it back. We really don't need any extra mouths to feed right now. He obeys and quickly replies, Yes, Master Li. Wu Jin shifts his hands, shooting his master a look full of pure curiosity. But seriously, what kind of disease is this plague anyway? Li Chong pours water into a cup, his voice dropping heavy and hesitant. Although there are similar illnesses out there, something just doesn't add up to me. Pay attention here, it's something he has never encountered. Hearing the great Li Chong clueless, his jaw completely drops, stuck in absolute shock. What? Is there really a sickness in this entire world that the three grand doctors don't even know about? He half closes his eyes, gives a slight nod, and calmly answers him. There are still countless things I don't know. You learn one thing, and 5 brand new mysteries pop right up. That is just how the world works. Wu Jin reaches out both hands to grab the water cup, thinking the master's medical skills were god tier, knowing literally every single disease. Li Chong slowly explains the reality to him. How could that ever be possible? If there were 0 diseases I didn't know, I wouldn't need to wander the entire martial world. He lifts the cup up, staring at Li Chong in pure, utter confusion. Why would you say that? I know what you're thinking. Was there a disease he couldn't cure? He stands up to leave, his deep voice echoing back with heavy thoughts. A sickness I wanted to cure? Yes, there was one. Right now, I can finally cure it, but back then, I was just too late. Wu Jin hesitantly repeats Li Chong's heavy words out loud. Too late? He doesn't want to dig deeper into his master's painful past, and instead turns his head toward the window. Wu Jin tightly furrows his brows together, as the sharp sound of crying suddenly catches his ear. Bitter, agonizing wailing. The sound of weeping heavily echoes all throughout the housing blocks. And trust me, we're about to witness this mountain village's absolute nightmare. Stick with me. Wu Jin's face looks completely troubled. It really was a completely curable disease. Sadly, he just didn't know the name. He thinks back to the sick kid, heavily regretting it in his mind. If he knew sooner, he could have cured it. Wu Jin sits helplessly by the table, just completely eaten up by guilt. If only he had known. He is actually pretty surprised hearing Li Chong start his own story. My wife and daughter both died from that exact sickness. The old man locks his eyes on the doll, dragging up every single one of his most painful memories. One day, they suddenly caught high fevers, red rashes covering their entire bodies. I rushed to find a doctor. I even dragged in the famous doctor from the neighboring village. Watch closely here. Li Chong keeps staring at it, continuing his tale. But sadly, neither of those two had any cure. Ultimately, while I was desperately running around looking for help, my wife and child passed away. The whole tragedy happened in just 4 days after the symptoms started. Wu Jin sits cross-legged, hands firmly clasped, deeply sympathizing with that horrible loss. My deepest condolences to you, Master. Li Chong puts his hands on his hips, mocking him. Condolences? No, not like that. This was never meant to be a tragic, depressing story. He lifts his water cup, speaking with some serious hidden meaning. You and I might actually laugh at the next part. Li Chong flashes back to standing right outside that closed door, staring blankly at the red cloth and that little doll. After losing the two of them, I tortured myself with guilt for a while, then suddenly left my hometown, moving like I was possessed by demons, just wandering aimlessly around. Step by painful step, he walked far away from his familiar home. Li Chong stands right in front of a village name sign. 10 days later, I finally reached a very small village. Actually, it should have been just a one-day trip, but because I was walking in circles like that young kid, I was delayed. A carved wooden lantern is seen dangling right from a tree branch. That village also had a local doctor of its own. Li Chong sits across from an old man who had 2 massive front teeth sticking right out. Even now, I still remember it perfectly. Just a basic, rustic old country doctor. A total rat-like face that inspired absolutely zero trust. I tried explaining my family's symptoms, clinging to a tiny bit of hope. Are we ready for his answer? looking completely scruffy and roughed up. He widened his eyes at the old man's words. Just drop exactly 5 copper coins here. Take this medicine right on schedule. You will recover completely without any harm. You and I can feel the heavy tension between Lai Trung and Bucktooth Grandpa. Everything just sank down so incredibly heavily. Back then, I was not just carrying some cheap copper scraps. I had tens of pure silver taels. That cash could have paid for my daughter's wedding several times over. A faint light slowly illuminated the little wooden doll. Lai Trung offered a faint smile right under Votan's intense gaze. So my wife and child tragically died, not because we lacked the money, nor because of a useless doctor or running out of medical herbs. It was simply because one doctor knew the cure and another did not. Honestly, have you and I ever heard a more tragically twisted joke before? That is exactly why I became a doctor. My goal is to gather every single medical technique in the world right here. Lai Trung raised his glass and chugged the water in one single breath. 35 long years have passed now. I cannot even remember the faces of my wife and child anymore these days. Votan stayed completely quiet and quickly turned toward the window. He cast a deeply sorrowful look out into the world beyond it. Dusk slowly fell across the village nestled beneath the massive mountain peak. It only made the deep restlessness inside Votan grow even stronger. His master's unexpected hollow laughter. It somehow sounded exactly like a mournful, agonizing cry. The next morning, out in the yard, he spoke. This old man will check the village to find the root cause of this mess. Lai Trung agreed without hesitation. All right. I will also scout around and return to join forces soon. He glanced at Votan, warning. We both know getting caught, slacking off means major trouble. You probably will not survive it. He threw his hands up reassuringly. Master, please do not worry at all. A random pig suddenly looked up. Votan rested his chin, staring thoughtfully at the pigs in the pen. A bit later, he leaned over the stone well and peered inside. Votan stepped down into a dark basement and crouched to inspect things. Pointing his thumb right at the house behind his back, he asked, Is this spot really the home of Scholar Trung? The exact place where the sickness started? Hong Qian looked up and gave a firm nod. Yes, exactly right here. Trust me, that mysterious purple aura changes absolutely everything. Let's dive into this wild plague. 2 bodies, total opposite extremes. One evil aura turns victims completely freezing cold. The other aura literally boils them alive inside. Wildly different symptoms, right? But both stem from dark energy born in damp spots. Dark and absolutely rotting. But check out the animal pens. The water wells and village underground cellars. Not a single trace of evil energy. Votan frowns hard, trying to piece this together. If this is a vicious plague, it definitely needed ground zero to start. Before spreading out from right there. He thinks for a second, turning to Cat Jue and Hong Qian, asking if that young scholar really was the first to fall sick, and then infected the very next house? He hesitates, confirming it totally spread in a straight order. Cat Joy points up, mapping out exactly where the sickness hit. Now pay attention here. The western villagers actually got sick first. Plus, the kids caught it way earlier than the grown adults. Votan sighs helplessly. These clues are driving him crazy. He gets dead serious and drops another question. So what makes the west side different from the east side? There has to be a specific reason it started over there. Cat Jue crosses his arms, sharing a rumor he once heard. Word is the east side has super strong yang energy, while the west is heavy yin. Votan shoots his arm out. No way, that is impossible. On the exact road from the west to Chu Town, the master and I did not see any sickness anywhere. So why did the little kids catch the plague first? He squeezes his eyes shut, pushing further. Those kids literally just hang out and play together all day. Then Cat Joy casually drops a massive hint. If we are talking about their favorite hangout spot, there is a small stream out west. Votan raises his eyebrows. His face gets super tense. Fists clench tight. His mind starts racing with the possibilities. Water? You and I both know that spells huge trouble. But the east side still has a well too, and that water looks totally clear. Confused, he turns back to the village chief. Has that eastern well always been completely dry like this? Hong Qian answers him firmly. Nope, only during droughts. Watch closely. The water vein just temporarily dried up. Stick with me, Votan thinks he found a major clue, so he asks. Did the horrible sickness start right when the east well ran completely dry? The old man nods firmly, completely agreeing with the crazy theory he proposed. Yeah, it was right around then. Votan's face immediately freezes up, cold sweat dropping down his forehead. He quickly connects all the dots. If the east well dried up, The entire village had to drink stream water. That completely explains one huge mystery: why the West Side residents and kids who drank the stream water first got sick earlier than anyone else. Cut to a pure, crystal-clear stream flowing right through the woods. Votan crouches right down. His hand lightly touches the dirt, eyes totally locked on the running water. The stream looks perfectly clean, with soft sunlight shining right through the surface, revealing the superfine sand at the bottom. He dips his hand in, looking incredibly puzzled, thinking there is absolutely nothing suspicious here. Zero cloudy spots, and definitely no weird smell. But looking at the facts, the problem literally has to be this exact stream. His face twists in deep thought, intensely debating with himself. To find out the real truth, watch closely. Is this our only option? Kat Jioi and Hong Qian stand right behind him, nervously watching his next move. Votan cups his hands and scoops up some water. Then he sits cross-legged right there, shuts his eyes tight, raising both hands to feel the raw spiritual energy flowing. A glowing surge of magic totally wraps around Votan's body. Kat Jioi and Hong Qian are totally confused, exchanging baffled looks over his crazy stunt. Votan throws his head back, feeling every single organ inside his own body. Suddenly, a really strange red aura bursts right out from his gut. His eyes snap wide open in shock, realizing the toxic energy inside him matches the sick kid perfectly. You and I saw it. Same evil aura. He jumps straight up, completely startling both Kat Jioi and Hong Qian. Votan flashes a massive smile, pointing way off into the distance, declaring, "We found our massive clue. Let's go." A really gentle breeze softly sweeps right by, making the huge forest canopy sway and gently whisper around them. He leads Kat Jioi and Hong Qian trekking right along the stream. Kat Jioi carefully helps the fragile old man walk across the water. Votan, Kat Jioi, and Hong Qian are literally panting heavily as they hike. He freezes, looking up. "Trust me, you and I aren't ready." "Stick with me here." Votan turns around, catching a really terrible scent. "Is it just him?" Kat Jioi shakes his head. "No way." He felt it too, and the smell is getting way stronger now. He stares at the dark mountain hidden behind that thick fog and speaks up. They are finally getting really close. The three of them push forward together, walking straight down that endless forest path. A little later, Votan clenches both his fists and stops. His face goes pale as he covers his nose, coughing violently. He realizes, every single tree here is dead. The disease source is right nearby. Right in front of him is pure, toxic air, swirling heavily around the dead trees. Votan and his group struggle hard to keep moving forward. Watch closely, his eyes snap wide open. Looks like he just spotted something insane. Still covering his nose, he stares intently at the dirt ahead, completely rotted away by poison gas. He observes that ruined dirt carefully and yells out, "The ground is rotting." Votan tries desperately to plant his feet on it, groaning in frustration. "Oh my God." He struggles, lifting his feet one heavy step at a time. He throws both his arms out wide just to stay balanced. He looks down at the ground. There is something buried right here. His face tightens up, covered in beads of sweat. Brows furrowed deeply, lips pressed tight, he angrily growls. It is hiding deep underground. Chapter 6. A really old, yellowed cabinet suddenly appears on screen. An antique wooden cabinet holding white ceramic jars, bathed in warm light, creating a really peaceful, quiet vibe. I know what you are thinking. Herb rooms mean death. A bowl of medicine appears, placed right in the middle of some freshly crushed herbs. It might come from the death of plants, or it could even be the death of animals. But despite all of that, the herb house always carries a really comforting, lingering scent to it. Not unpleasant at all. Votan smiles warmly, holding the medicinal herbs gently. He turns his gaze, looking calmly out the open window. I really used to love that smell. Then he turns back to look at the medicine bags, hanging playfully all over the house. Death actually holds the ultimate key to life. That scent could literally help bring somebody back to life. That is where we leave it. Votan slams his staff down hard. Stick with me, he stares at these shriveled bodies. Just dead animals rotting in the pit. But this whole place reeks with a faint aura of death. Death literally just breeds more death around here. Who did this? And why? Nearby, Kat Jioi and Hong Qian are working hard to help Votan. He grips a stick, panting heavily. He suggests digging them all up and moving them from the stream. Kat Jioi just watches Hong Qian, stepping right down into the massive pit he dug. He picks up an animal body part and holds it up. "Master, take a look at this." Hong Qian guesses someone chopped them up and buried them in dirt. Votan silently studies the grotesque mess down in the hole. Highly toxic dead bodies. Just breathing it in makes you sick. A completely rotting skull sits there, covered in centipedes crawling all through the dirt. It does not kill instantly like regular poisonous herbs do, or natural poison from underground. Now pay attention, whoever did this perfectly understood how this corpse poison works. A slow toxin that kills people off gradually. A tragic disaster waiting for the poor village at the mountain base. Votan's entire body starts trembling slightly. This evil scheme perfectly matches the exact time the well ran dry. He raises an eyebrow. Lips pressed tight, his hands grip the wooden stick with pure fury. This is absolute total destruction. Votan whips his head around. He hears a noise behind him, and we know that means trouble. Heavy footsteps stomping hard against the solid ground. Startling him, along with Kak Joy and Hong Qian completely. A healer holding a knife in one hand, holding a dirty bag, staring right at Votan's entire group. He pulls his mask down, growling in pure rage. "You absolute bastards! What are you doing to the medicine field I worked so hard on?" Hong Qian clenches his fist tightly, absolutely burning with intense rage, spitting out every single word. "Dr. Diem. Could it be?" Votan stares at the old doctor in shock. His face scrunches up, glaring at the supposed healer with furious anger. This guy knew exactly what that corpse poison would actually do. Plus, he completely understood the village situation. Even worse, when the plague spread, he immediately started hoarding their money. "Trust me, we found the killer. Stick with me, this guy looks totally harmless. But inside, he is pure, unmatched, absolute evil. A literal devil in disguise. He just masked himself as a gentle, caring doctor. This pig-like doctor is absolute, pure scum, greedily draining every last resource from the village. Nobody expected that once his true greed finally showed, he wanted to swallow Nine Moons Village completely whole. In one single, devastating move, he dangerously raises his shiny, sharp knife. Votan grips his wooden stick with both hands, trembling with pure fury, still acting super arrogant even after getting completely exposed here. "I must kill him. Now watch this." Hung Jian faces the doctor, speaking with deep anger. "It was really you." He holds the severed goat head up. Gritting his teeth, he screams, "You spread the fake plague." The doctor stays totally calm despite being completely busted. He smirks with a fierce, twisted smile and openly confesses, "I just played the good guy, only wanting to grab my fat share right now." Hong Jian furiously growls back, "Your share?" Pulling that gross goat head back, he roars loudly, "Your freaking share, huh? Do you know how many innocent people died? You and I saw that flinch." Hong Jian throws it hard. The head snaps in half, and his eyes bulge furiously. The shady doctor steps back a bit, keeping his eyes locked on Hong Jian. Two more armed goons suddenly appear right in front, posing in a ready attack stance. "Why should I even care at all?" He taunts further, pushing Votan's crew into blind rage. "All that I care about is that you pathetic rats ruined my hard work." He dangerously points a thumb at his own face. "So pay me back with your own worthless bodies, whether it happens today or some other time." The twisted doctor's eyes flash with a sinister gleam. Smiling wickedly, "I plan to dump your corpses in that pit anyway." He scoffs with pure disgust. He glares at Hongjian's raised stick. "Trust me, it gets crazier. Just consider yourselves first in line for the slaughter, you absolute filthy, ragged beggars. Let's dive in. Watch this old man face two massive thugs." Hongjian's face darkens completely as he roars out, "You!" He stomps his foot hard into the dirt, cursing them. "You beasts!" Yan Yi Yuan's two hired henchmen instantly freeze in panic. That is because their eyes lock right onto his martial belt. Hong Jian has 3 knots tied on it. He pours all his energy into his wooden staff. Furious, he screams out, "You dare to cause trouble here? When a protector of the beggars sect, the 3-knot beggar Hong Jian is standing right here?" The ruthless thugs start backing away, totally spooked. His jaw drops wide open in pure shock. A protector? Those 2 bulky henchmen snap their heads back toward Yi Yuan. "A protector?" The guy with the hair bun screams right in his face. "Hey Yan Yi Yuan, you said this was just some weak little kids. Why the hell is a beggar sect protector here?" He flinches back, totally panicking. "I don't know either." Hongjian stomps both feet heavily into the dirt. He grips his wooden staff tight, barking an order. "Listen up, you little thieves, I'm counting to 10. Now pay attention." He shifts into an attack stance, declaring loud and clear, "The only person dying by my staff today is definitely Yan Yi Yuan. I really don't want any more lives lost in this village." His whole body is shaking, but his words are absolutely unshakable. So you better make the right choice. Wu Jin watches Hongjian start counting down, one by one. He bites his lip hard, whispering in awe, "A three-knot beggar." Wu Jin is sweating bullets, biting his lip as he thinks. Just a single loud shout. You feel that too, right? Pure, paralyzing intimidation. Guji suddenly sneaks right up behind his back and whispers, "Hey, you need to run away right now." Wu Jin repeats it, totally confused. What? Run away? But his ally is completely dead set on this. Run away, I will throw you over the stream, just run fast. 1. Jiji warns him, don't look back, go tell the village about this. Hongjian erupts with magical energy, covering his entire body. 2. He begs him desperately, I have to burden you with this responsibility again. Please help us out. Wu Jin stares back confused. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. Stick with me, you two are branch master and protector. Actually, you are supreme tier martial arts experts. Shouldn't this be an easy win? He freezes in shock. Supreme tier? Did Hong Qin still show up? Votan turns his head, carefully watching the old man's every single move. Then he finally realizes it. Wait, is that not true? Cat Joy fiercely glares at the healers. My master and I still have to fight anyway. They push their two thugs forward, shouting loud threats. They are just two street beggars from the beggar sect and a single healer. Now, pay attention, risk it all. Or fight the entire village instead? Hong Qian frowns, his voice dropping low. Fragmented memories flash by like a fast movie reel. They come rushing wildly through Votan's mind. He has already decided to risk death and fight back. But why? He is literally just a weak, fragile, old street beggar. Why push himself to the absolute limit? He looks over at Cat Joy, suggesting an idea. What if they all just run away right now? That freaky healer over there is a genuine supreme tier martial arts master. If they run back to the village, everyone is dead. Cat Joy stops hesitating, using both hands to lift Votan right up. He helplessly explains the grim situation. We simply cannot protect you guys while trying to escape safely. Votan stays dead silent, listening to Cat Joy's every word. I know you feel this, please help that weird healer protect our village. He suddenly remembers a clear moment from his own childhood. Standing beside Hong Qin, practicing his martial arts. Begging here for our entire lives, we have never once felt ashamed, because the kind villagers kept us alive and fed. The old man firmly continues speaking. Cat Joy flashes back to Hong Qin, putting an arm over his shoulder to teach. Master taught him, when the time comes, fight to defend the village. The healer gang acts super cautious. He stares down Hong Qin and angrily shouts orders. Running away will not make your gambling debts magically vanish. Just kill him. You only live once. The old man knits his brows. The two healer thugs also risk it all and charge forward. Let's go, trust me, risk it all. Cat Joy tightly grits his teeth. He grabs Votan, lifting him until his feet kick wildly in the air. Stick with me here. Huang Qian spots two YVN thugs charging in. Jiak Joy channels all his strength, hurling Votan straight toward the back. He leans back, watching the kid fly through the air away from danger. Just run away. Votan freezes up completely, his eyes locked onto the brutal fight ahead. Run away? What about those two guys? The two deadly YVN sect lackeys, gripping their weapons, fiercely lunge straight toward Hong Qian. Should I jump in and help? These enemies honestly don't look that strong. Jiak Joy and Huang Qian join forces and push forward. Exactly. Votan stares at his unyielding, absolutely fearless battle aura. And Huang Qian firmly makes up his mind. If I fight alongside these two, we might actually win. Votan furrows his brows, shooting a fiery glare straight at those YVN goons. Watch closely now, a razor-sharp blade suddenly slashes right toward him. The guy with the top knot charges at Votan, gripping his deadly sword. His eyes widen in sheer terror, bracing himself for the incoming agonizing pain. But then Jiak Joy dives in and tackles the attacker to the ground, helping Votan make it safely across the rushing stream water. He quickly flicks his eyes right over to Votan. After that, the kid turns his back and sprints into the deep forest. You and I both saw that Jiak Joy flashes a totally satisfied smile. Votan runs deeper into the woods without ever stopping. Running away isn't exactly wrong here. He runs with all his might. I'm just following their exact orders. They entrusted this to me. Votan keeps accelerating faster and faster, desperate to pass on the message and save Kunguyet village from ruin. But the epic image of Jiak Joy and Hong Qin fighting, plus the traumatic memory of lying in that dark pit, alongside those terrifying monsters, suddenly appears. Total bullshit. I'm literally running away. Jiakjoy and Hoang Qian are definitely going to die. Their bodies torn to absolutely brutal, totally unrecognizable shreds. What can I even do as a total martial arts beginner? Exhausted, Votan finally stops his running. Hands resting on his thighs, panting heavily under the faint, very dim forest light, piercing straight down through the canopy. Makes you think, right? If I were a supreme master, I wouldn't flee. Stick with me here. Lai Trung's back suddenly flashes in his mind. Votan's face is drenched in sweat, eyes wide open, deep in thought amidst the pitch-black darkness. Cat Jioi and Hong Qin appear right beside Lai Trung again. His eyes are completely filled with absolute panic. But Shichikai actually chose to stay behind. Even though he isn't some supreme martial master, Votan looks down, totally torturing himself with guilt inside the dark forest. His legs suddenly give out, shaking wildly out of control. Then, Votan bites his lip and sharply turns around. His eyes burn with pure determination deep inside the woods. Votan's heavy, ragged breathing echoes loudly all around him. He pushes past his limits, sprinting straight ahead at full speed. Votan clenches his fists incredibly tight. His resolute gaze locks onto the distance ahead. Sweat pours down his intense face as he gasps for air. You're gonna want to see this. Votan spots the light ahead. Once, I actually helped a kid getting bullied by a bunch of others, and they literally called me an idiot. Even though I got completely trashed, the feeling of pride was way bigger than the physical pain, almost like becoming a legendary martial arts master myself, daring to stand up against absolute injustice. But right now, he bites his lip, secretly praying in his heart, wishing this dark road was just a little bit longer, wishing the brutal battle would be totally over by the time I arrive. His mind is absolutely flooded with cowardly thoughts exactly like that. Votan keeps dashing past row after row of trees, running without a single stop. We've all felt this, right? If he turns back now, his entire life becomes just running. The sounds of fierce combat suddenly explode right in his ears. Votan intensely furrows his brows, gathering all his courage to finally step completely out of his shell, hands resting heavily on his thighs. Exhaustedly watching the intense battle still raging right in front of him, catching sight of an exhausted Cat Jiwai, but still tightly gripping that wooden stick in his hand, while Hong Qian violently clenches his fists, throwing up a solid defensive stance. Votan hides behind the tall grass, poking his head up to watch. I know what you're thinking. How are they already hurt this bad? How can I even help them out? Cat Jioi and Hong Qian, each fighting off their own dangerous opponent, both of them desperately gasping for air. Exhausted to the bone, but refusing to quit, Gigi ducks slightly, glaring at the enemy ahead. Let's dive in top-knot smirks, raising his blade. Then he charges straight at Gaji with killer intent. Seeing this, our guy quickly jumps back to dodge it. JG thrusts a wooden stick to block it, roaring fiercely, "Evil sword has no path." Wherever this top-knot thug tries to strike, GG is right there, lightning fast to parry every single hit. The enemy keeps swinging wildly at Geji without stopping. Eyes wide, teeth gritted hard. Our boy is really struggling now. He ducks low, barely dodging a brutal slash from the top-knot. Sweat is literally pouring down his face like heavy rain. The top-knot guy pulls his heavy sword back, winding up to deliver another devastating blow. This beggar is putting up a serious fight. Watch closely now, he spins, aiming the blade at Geji. Let's see if you can run away as well. As you talk all that trash, the sword tip slices right across his leg skin, sending crimson blood flying through the air. Gigi thrusts his wooden stick forward to block the hit. Top-knot glares at him fiercely, unleashing a ruthless sword strike. Nearby, Hongjian sees Gaji completely pinned to the ground, and panics, screaming out loud, "Chusan!" The old man screams, voice straining, "Stay awake, get on your feet." You saw that opening? Hongjian slips. The bandana thug swings a massive axe at his face. Luckily, Hongjian drops his body down fast, barely dodging that truly vicious attack. This is no time to worry about anyone else. You incredibly stubborn old fool. The elder falls back, planting both hands to catch his balance. The bandana guy clicks his tongue in pure annoyance, snapping angrily, "You rats are basically dead. Why do you still keep on fighting?" Hongjian is totally exhausted, gasping heavily for every breath, but he firmly spits back, "Even if I must roll in filth or a pile of corpses, it is still 100 times better than being absolute garbage just like you." The thug jerks his thumb back toward Gaji, then points his axe at Hongjian with a sneer. Whether it is you or your little disciple right there, trust me, your ending is already set in stone, so just give up, old man. Stick with me here. The bandana guy sneers, seeing the old man collapsed, completely out of gas on the ground. He mocks him. Do you seriously want to watch your own disciple get chopped up into literal plant fertilizer? So old, yet so incredibly greedy. It is honestly just pathetic. Hong Kieran shifts his eyes toward a fallen wooden stick right behind him. Then he glares straight back at the guy standing over him. Nearby, Kak Jie is desperately struggling to block every single strike from the top-knot guy. Hong Kieran clenches his fists. Refusing to give up, he forces himself up. Give up? In an absolute flash, the old man dashes for that stick, roaring out loudly. Not a chance. The bandana guy catches on to the sudden, desperate movement of Hong Kieran. He raises his heavy axe and charges. He forcefully pulls the massive weapon back. Watch closely. He winds up for a fatal blow. Die. The bandana guy aggressively blocks the old man from grabbing that wooden stick. Like an absolute madman, he violently chases Hong Kieran down, screaming over and over again, just die. The old man spins, tracking every single movement of the bandana guy's relentless and brutal attacks. Kak Jie quickly leans his body aside, barely deflecting the top-knot guy's heavy, brutal slash. He steals a quick, worried glance at the desperate battle of Hong Kieran. The old man reaches down, scooping up a handful of dirt. Right then, Kak Jie smoothly sweeps his leg, kicking hard right into the top-knot guy's calf. Hong Kieran is absolutely drenched in heavy sweat. His wide eyes burn with pure, unbreakable determination. He suddenly flashes back to a precious memory with Kak Jie, sitting side by side as kids, watching the sunset together. Gripping the dirt tight in his hand, Hong Kieran snaps his head back. Without any hesitation, he throws it right at the bandana guy's face. You saw that too, right? Hong Kieran throws his entire body at him. The bandana guy shoots him a deadly glare. Raising his heavy axe high, he shouts out, "Perfect! So finally, you have actually decided to beg for your own miserable death?" Kak Jie completely freezes, hearing the sudden, agonizing shout from Hong Kieran. In absolute panic, he snaps his head to look. The brutal axe buried right into the back of Hong Kieran, making red liquid violently splatter right through the air. It unfolds right before the horrified Kak Jie. That is where we leave it. The old man's arms lock tightly around him, refusing to let go. Stick with me here, he rips the axe out, and Hong Jian screams in absolute agony. Guji completely freezes up at the old man's terrifying roar. Now is the exact moment. The bandana guy grits his teeth in pure, unfiltered rage, repeatedly plunging that heavy axe straight into Hong Jian's back. Damn you, just let go. Let go. The old man forces the words out, desperately signaling Gajia. It's time. Dark red blood violently spews from Hong Jian's mouth, while enduring everything just to repay his life debt. Gaji gets the signal, hoisting his heavy wooden staff high, and lunging straight at that crazy bandana guy. Hong Jian uses every last ounce of his fading strength, pinning the guy firmly in place. The top-knot guy spots this and immediately charges after him. He aims his deadly blade directly at Gaji. Now watch closely, a massive rock flies from nowhere, smashing into Top-knot's face. Wu Jin furrows his brows hard, holding another huge rock in a perfect throwing stance. Top-knot's face swells up instantly as he tumbles backward into the dirt. He snaps furiously at the medic. Absolute bastard. Jiji brutally slams his staff onto the bandana guy's head. A devastating critical strike, the mantis staff blow. You feel that too, right? The battlefield air just got terrifyingly heavy. Just a moment later, Hong Jian and the bandana guy completely lose their remaining strength, collapsing hard to the ground. Wu Jin stares over at Geije, who is heavily leaning on his staff. He desperately wants to speak, but the words just won't come. Hearing the top-knot guy shouting, Wu Jin quickly snaps his head around. You totally useless medic. He raises his jagged sword, aggressively screaming right in his direction. If you actually managed to escape, you should have stayed hidden. Or are you really just begging to die? The top-knot guy sprints at full speed toward where Wu Jin is frozen, coldly declaring, I'm going to hack you into pieces. His deadly sword slash begins swinging right down. Wu Jin goes completely pale, eyes wide open, bracing for the fatal impact. But he freezes, suddenly spotting the imposing figure of Li Chong, standing tall with his sword blocking the strike. He calmly glances back at Wu Jin, casually asking, Did you really travel all this way just to find medicine? Wu Jin gasps out in pure shock, Senior, right there on the rotting forest floor. Wild, right? Stick with me here. Cat Joy cradles Hong Qian, Tears are just pouring down his face. Lai Trung watches this heartbreaking scene in pure silence. After observing for a second, he figures it all out. He looks at Votan and speaks. Looks like these guys are the actual cause of the plague, huh? He instantly denies it. No, that is wrong. Votan glares at the physician furiously and exposes him. It is Dr. DM. He is the real mastermind behind all this. Out of nowhere, Lai Trung appears right behind the guy, gripping his head super tight. He growls out, "Is that true?" He shoves the physician face first onto the ground. Lai Trung glares down at him with absolute rage. He demands with a cold voice, "Now pay attention here. You created this plague, didn't you? Tell me why." Votan glares at him, grinding his teeth as he spits facts. "Do you even gotta ask?" He spread this deadly plague everywhere just to make some quick cash. Terrified, the guy hugs his head before the kick and begs, "Please, great hero, spare my life. Have mercy on me." Lai Trung calmly pushes Votan back to keep interrogating this guy. The immortal corpse was just saved for last, clearly. So what is your actual goal here? Votan looks at him in total shock and blurts out, "What real purpose? We are about to see." The physician drops straight down to his knees. Clasping his hands begging, he proposes a deal. "Master, you seem to know quite a lot. Just please spare my life. If I can just keep on living, I will give you a super rare spiritual medicine right now. Way better than whatever Chu Ap village managed to get." Shaking like a leaf, he suddenly asks a question. "Have you ever heard of the black sparrow herb?" Votan's eyes go wide with pure, absolute shock. A dark flower blooming in the dead of night appears. The black sparrow herb is a spiritual plant. It blooms by feeding on dark yin energy during chaotic times. It is one step below the 10,000-year snow ginseng, but its legendary reputation is seriously no joke. These creepy flowers actually grow on the dried-up corpses of dead people. Pretty insane, right? The ultimate flower of heroes. Let's jump in. The healer points far away, offering it. "Please take it in exchange for my life. Great master." Votan and Lai Trung instantly tense up. The vibe shifts. He aims a shaking finger toward a dark cave nearby, where a pale purple light faintly glows from inside. A completely striking, vibrant purple flower appears right in their direct line of sight. He gasps in pure disbelief. It is the real black sparrow herb. "Old man!" Votan angrily marches up to the healer, raising his fist for a strike. "You were going to hand it over to survive anyway, right? So why cause all this absolute madness?" Lai Trung grabs his shoulder with a very heavy grip, telling him to cool down. Now watch closely. He sees right through the healer's trap. He is not trading for his life. The healer violently flinches back. Hearing Lai Trung completely expose his dirty little secret, you know perfectly well that if an ordinary person touches that exact herb, their spiritual energy drains instantly until they die. And you completely weaponize that fact. The old healer starts shaking uncontrollably now, realizing his fatal trap was totally busted wide open. Crazy, right? This spiritual herb literally feeds on pure death. Hoarding all those corpses? Yeah, it was for that reason. If every single villager dies, their dead bodies become nothing but food for this dark herb, including you, and both of us. He glances over at Kat Jue, who is still sobbing over Hong Keen's freezing cold corpse, and continues. "You are probably just stalling for time. To cook up another twisted scheme, are you not? Like faking the harvest, refining it, and then poisoning us while we wait." The healer slams both hands hard into the dirt, pressing his forehead to the ground, frantically denying it. "No, wrong. This black sparrow herb is extremely hard to process. I honestly plan to refine it myself and hand it over." Lai Trung vigorously snaps his head back. "You see that deadly glare? He is done playing games," smirking with dark, sarcastic praise. "Is that so? For just some random mountain doctor out here, your medical knowledge is incredibly vast and highly suspicious. Stick with me." The healer turns completely pale. He mutters it is just some cheap tricks. The old master casually reaches down, plucking that toxic purple flower without hesitation. What a real pity. Li Chung inspects it carefully while the fake healer watches him in absolute shock. "I am definitely not your average ordinary person." Cold sweat instantly starts pouring down the terrified healer's face. He gasps out in pure panic. "What? If you touch that with your bare hands, you are seriously going to die." The healer barely finishes speaking when Li Chung instantly swings his sword right through his head. His completely severed head just drops heavily onto the cold dirt. Li Chung casually stares at the flower in his hand and proudly declares, "I will handle my own life and death." Pay attention, this empty forest gets real weird. A sudden loud voice echoes right out. Why do these fake doctors, these absolute trash-tier scammers keep showing up like this? Li Chung spits out, getting really annoyed now. Learn a little medicine and think you are master healers, right? Just a bunch of trash. His junior Wu Jin carefully steps closer to the old man and asks, "Are you okay?" About that, he turns around with a cold scoff. Am I okay? Of course I am. Did you think I got my legendary title by just gambling around? Before that, Li Chung makes sure to give an order. I will absorb this corpse poison and the dark spiritual medicine, so take the red-crested bird and step back now. Wu Jin steps back to stand guard and obediently replies, yes, but Wu Jin is thinking exactly what you and I are. He just keeps staring at him. Li Chung plops down on the dirt to begin cultivating. Wu Jin watches in pure shock but dares not make a sound. Intense streams of energy are slowly generated by Li Chung. Wu Jin feels something shift and instinctively looks at the ground. Those streams of toxic purple aura are getting sucked away at a speed you can see with naked eyes. He suddenly realizes what is happening and snaps his head back to watch the poison being completely drained. Wu Jin absolutely cannot believe his own eyes. The toxic energy, it is being absorbed. And the raw power Li Chung is radiating, trust me, he just gets insanely stronger. He quickly leans far back. He blocks, and stick with me, this toxic aura is absolutely insane. Those deadly streams of gas just violently swirl right around Li Chung sitting completely still. The monster's poison gets sucked completely dry in mere seconds. Votan is standing right there, witnessing this entire crazy scene unfold. Even from a pretty safe distance away, he can easily feel the heavy, suffocating pressure radiating from that spot. Who knows how long it takes, but the toxic smoke finally fades away. Behind that thick haze, Li Chung is still sitting in the exact same spot. He is too nervous to even check on him. Is the fight over? Here is where it gets wild, the old man speaks. Did you see that? Li Chung slowly holds out his wooden staff. Now, this is what you call real chi control right here. Yeah, he generously offers it up to the kid. Take it. Votan obediently reaches out to grab it. Yes, sir. Li Chung explains everything clearly while handing it over. I already absorbed all the deadly poison, so you can use this weapon now with absolutely zero side effects. I perfectly refined it using my own elite-level chi mastery. Pretty awesome stuff, right? He takes it in his hands, just nodding aggressively. Thank you so much, master. The old man proudly adds one more thing. Since you exposed that fake doctor's dirty little scheme earlier today, you are totally qualified. Votan just looks completely clueless right now. Wait, qualified for what? Li Chung doesn't explain any further. He just slightly smirks. Absorbing the toxic energy is more than enough. Let's pause for a second. Suddenly, Votan gets completely lost in thought. He clearly hesitates a bit, glancing back at Cat Juai, who is literally trembling. After thinking about it really carefully for a moment, he actually returns the legendary item back. I really don't deserve this, right? Feeling guilty, he spells out exactly what happened earlier. I just ran away like a coward, then came back and threw a rock. I only returned because I was scared of being called a coward. Li Chung doesn't even want to punish him. Qualification, you say? He points his hand at someone standing right behind the boy. Turns out the person Li Chung is pointing at is actually Cat Jioi. Why is that guy looking at you like you earned this respect? Li Chung laughs out loud happily. Here is what we both learn. Returning to fight is way harder than staying. Only when you truly face it. Let's jump in. Accepting your mistakes and your heavy duty is the only way you make it. Retreating? Only those who permanently run away are the real cowards here. The old master starts to leave, but suddenly turns back. You can run away as many times as you possibly want, just make sure you return to where you started. When the final exact moment hits, just don't turn your back on your actual duty. That is enough. Votan's eyes just go wide. It looks like this profound lesson actually hit him pretty hard. The mystical flower just sits right there, perfectly still in his hands. Master Li Chung lets out a massive, exhausted sigh. Did I literally just teach you way too much? Think about the absolute essence of life? Probably way too deep for your brain to process. Now watch this part. He hears coughing and immediately spins right around. Did you just eat that entire thing? Votan honestly just nods and squeaks out a yes. Li Chung is absolutely shook. Why would you eat it right now? But our guy is still completely and utterly clueless. What is wrong? Didn't you literally tell me to swallow it? Votan just stares blankly, doubling down. You literally just promised me zero side effects earlier. Right after that, a pure, ear-piercing scream of absolute agony. It echoes all the way up to the blue sky. accompanied by totally dramatic cries of feeling so horribly wronged. Lai Trung throws his hands up, completely helpless and groaning. Good heavens! You and I know this is bad. Swallowing spiritual medicine without the technique. Who is going to rob you anyway? Now Votan just has to suffer through the brutal pain. His whole body is shaking violently, non-stop. You stopped talking, so I figured I had to eat it immediately. The master grits his teeth, just scolding him endlessly. Did you forget the black tortoise divine art I literally taught you? Stand solid on the ground. Breathe right and channel the energy properly. And now you are making my life completely miserable. Votan is absolutely panicking out of his mind now. Wait, how do I do it? Please, master, tell me one more time. Lai Trung hears this and is too exhausted to speak. I thought you were a genius, but sometimes you are maddeningly stupid. Just like that, walking down the road, he explains it again. What a wild duo, right? Channel your inner energy right through the spleen meridians. Stick with me, watch how he plants his foot completely flat and slow. Mix the energy from your lower body with your breath. Create a solid core connecting the 3 main pressure points. Write down your entire spinal column. Those 3 points form the absolute foundation of the black tortoise divine art. Everything else is just flexible movement. Make that stable base your center. Then pull in the raw power from the black star elixir. I am warning you. Take it incredibly slow. Wu Jin hears this and instantly gets overly confident. I got it. I am doing it perfectly. But Master Li Chong immediately shuts that down. Stop talking back and do it right. Now pay attention here, because his body is actually starting to change. Sweat is literally pouring down his forehead like a waterfall, and his legs are shaking so hard he might collapse. After a while, Wu Jin finally lets out a massive, super relieved sigh, which instantly grabs Li Chong's full attention. As he takes one step forward, his footwork looks way more solid and grounded than it ever has before. Wu Jin just keeps walking forward with this absolute blazing confidence. Li Chong can completely feel that energy and looks pretty satisfied. He secretly thinks that, before they even reach the village, the kid will probably have his energy fully stabilized. Then he starts considering an even wilder possibility. What if he trains him perfectly right now? I know what you're thinking. Wu Jin is still totally new here, still adjusting to this brand new body. But his very next words out loud instantly make Li Chong's face go completely dark with pure rage. So this is the terrifying power of the Black Star Elixir. The master turns around and just starts screaming at him. Hey, that is literally just licking the skin of the apple, got it? Fully absorbing all that raw power is going to take forever. Whenever you have free time, practice the Black Tortoise Divine Art. Wu Jin is so terrified his face goes completely pale. Yes, sir. Seeing him looking so energetic, Li Chong drops a quick demand. You seem totally fine now. Go drag one of them yourself. But hearing that instantly makes Wu Jin feel super sick again. My stomach still hurts too much. So they keep walking up ahead, with Gaji trailing right behind them. Right at this exact moment. Trust me, watch this. Everyone just awkwardly stares at the strangers ahead. And Wu Jin is the one stepping up to do all the talking. Come along with me. He carefully reached toward Cat Joy. Now, this brutal epidemic is finally over. Take the medicine, and in 3 days, they will be up and walking. Hongchatka and Chuma Toanka have completely dealt with the mastermind behind this. The crowd went absolutely wild, constantly clapping and cheering in pure joy. But Cat Joy? His face was as dark as storm clouds. The villagers just gathered around like that, centering on Li Trung and Votan to celebrate. Now, pay attention here, because he quickly noticed something was completely off. Lai Trung immediately turned his head to look. Cat Jui just offered a slight, quiet bow of deep gratitude. Under the bright sun, everyone else was just laughing and having fun. Absolutely nobody paid a single ounce of attention to him. Just like that, Cat Jui slowly walked away, completely alone in the shadows. He actually paused for a second, glancing up toward that lifeless corpse. But the next second, he turned and left. Just like that, evening quickly fell, painting the entire mountain in golden sunset rays before fading away. Time just quietly slipped on by. Another fresh morning at that overly familiar, beat-up roof they called home. Votan was up early, grabbing a makeshift branch to practice his moves. He trained with intense, absolute laser focus. Every single movement was carefully calculated by Votan. Perfect form. You saw that too, right? He suddenly looked up, pondering something deep. How exactly did that old master pull it off? Right while his guard was totally down, a foot came flying out of nowhere, kicking straight into Votan's body. Lai Trung didn't hesitate, knocking him straight down to his knees, and instantly started scolding him. What if dust falls into the medicine batch, huh? And you still expect me to teach swordplay? He walked over just to announce, pack your bags up quickly now. We still have a journey. But Votan felt something was super weird. There are still sick people left. Why leave so soon? Honestly, his mind was entirely focused on those beautiful local girls. Let's just stay 5 more days. It's convenient to track everyone's recovery status too. Plus, he would get to play the hero for a few extra days. Lai Trung quickly dragged Votan right back down to brutal reality. Snap out of it, kid. From the very beginning, I never planned on visiting Chu Ap village. We only stopped by because Hongkat Ki specifically requested it. Hearing this, he froze. You and I didn't see that coming. Stick with me here. Hongkat Ki vanished last night. Did you happen to see him? The old man just slowly explained. He probably went to handle old man Ma Ton K's burial. Knowing him, he is probably starving to death out there somewhere. But Votan was totally confused by this. Starving? The guy is literally the hero who saved everyone. Flashing back to those crazy scenes, he could not stop overthinking. For a beggar's sect disciple who just took a life, this outcome really is not that surprising. Even with a totally justified reason, once a mere beggar who lived purely off local charity, brutally beats someone to death, and not just anyone, a literal martial arts master? Now pay attention, he is no longer just a beggar. Votan just kept his head down. It is not charity anymore. At this point, it is pure extortion. Just like that, the two kept talking about this whole messy situation. So what exactly is Hongkat Ki supposed to do now? That is a choice he must make totally on his own. Lai Trung looked up at the sky and just sighed. Taking a life always carries that weight. Once the news spread that these two had to leave, the whole village actually came out to say goodbye. Votan hesitated for a second, but he still had to walk away. And just like that, they hit the long dirt path once again. Day after day, they kept moving forward at the exact same pace. Dead silence. Neither of them said a single word. Then out of nowhere, Votan curiously looked up at the weird scene right in front. His eyes went wide, totally caught off guard. You and I didn't see this coming. It is a literal graveyard. Lai Trung scanned the area quickly before yelling out, "There it is!" Right in front of a specific grave, 2 wooden sticks were planted. Without exchanging even a single glance or word, they stepped up to show some deep respect for the deceased. Together, they bowed and paid their final tributes. But right at that moment, Votan shifted his gaze over. He instantly sensed something completely off about Lai Trung's whole aura. Let that sink in. The whole place dropped into dead silence. Suddenly, Kat Ki walked right up and clasped his hands toward them. I, Hongkat Ki, owe you an absolutely massive debt of gratitude. I truly hope your journey ahead stays safe and completely peaceful. Votan rushed over the second he saw him. Have you been here since last night? Have you not eaten anything at all? Stick with me here. He generously hands over the food. Eat. Kat Kai grabs it, feeling completely grateful. He quickly thanks Votan. Then he curiously asks him, are you really staying here in Chuap village? He nods his head to confirm it. I will be staying right here for my entire life. I literally have nowhere else to go. Kat Kai smiles brightly, adding with totally pure optimism, no worries, surviving by any means is the true beggar way. Meanwhile, Votan is still replaying Lai Trung's exact words. Killing someone is just how it goes. Suddenly, he makes a bold offer. Just come with me. Kat Kai looks totally stunned by this. Go where? Votan passionately grabs onto his hand right there. Where do you think? Now pay attention. I will take you somewhere you can be a beggar without having to fear anyone. Old Ma Tonke would definitely want exactly that. He happily turns around to ask, Old man, you think so too, right? But the moment they finally look back, Lai Trung has already vanished into thin air. Votan does not overthink it, just dragging Kat Kai along with him. Hey old man, let us go together. He sprints at full speed chasing after Lai Trung. Why did you leave without saying a word? Panting heavily when they finally catch up. You walk unbelievably fast. And just like that, while traveling, they happily chat with each other once again. We all knew Hongkat Kai was tagging along, right? You hear me? Better start practicing that black tortoise divine art. The kid Votan now comes up with another idea. Plus, it is time you teach me some real sword play. Lai Trung bursts out laughing. I have been waiting for you to say that. Just like that, continuing their journey, they keep talking, constantly asking questions about the trip ahead. But where are we actually heading to? Chusan, you are an absolute genius. That brat Votan never even bothered to ask that. What kind of genius? Asking that is just basic common sense. Finally, an annoyed Votan yells out, "So where exactly is our final destination? You and I know those wooden grave markers had names." "Stick with me, it's the Sword Tomb's demon venerable." Li Chong turns right around to give them the ultimate answer. They are deep inside Luoyang's massive, totally endless forest. Li Chong starts enthusiastically guiding his students once again. A brutal sword thrust straight toward the heart. The heart sword technique. Sounds super basic, but it is actually the sword technique closest to pure essence. He even throws in a few extra moves for a demonstration. The absolute core of these essential movements is exactly the Windspring Vine Point strike. He and Wu Jin stand right beside him, super hyped to learn these crazy moves. Right then. Now watch this pure energy suddenly erupts out, straight from Li Chong's massively powerful strike. He turns back to check on the two of them. "How is it? Can you manage?" Both of them just glare at Li Chong with absolute disgust. Wu Jin basically loses his mind and starts screaming, "How are we supposed to do that? You really think just talking about it makes it possible?" He steps right up to confront his master head on. "Why wouldn't you be able? I have been teaching you this for an entire month. How do we chop trees like that in 1 month?" Li Chong gets equally furious and immediately snaps right back at him. "Who said you had to? The posture is the actual posture, you little brat. You and I both know Gaji is staying totally silent during this clash. Come on, do it like this. Wait, is it like this? Nope, it goes like this." Who knows how much time passes, but they keep on practicing. Li Chong suddenly speaks up, "Zhou Shan, you give it a try." Wu Jin stands on the side, adding, "There you go, see? He got it exactly right." JG just tries to follow Li Chong's movements and asks, "Is it like this?" He looks over and feels incredibly satisfied. Exactly, that posture is 100% correct. Wu Jin strikes the exact same pose beside him, acting completely confident, boldly claiming, "It does not look that different anyway." However, a super long time later, Li Chong is literally still adjusting his terrible stance, shouting, "Do it over again, straighten your back, the legs, fix your legs." That's where we leave it, Gaji diligently learning the ropes. Trust me, Votan just never stopped arguing. Only 1 month of training, and you're already this cocky? Keep it up and you'll end up straight in hell. But honestly, Lai Trung literally could not care less about that. Straighten your back. Hey, I am standing straight. Show some respect to your master before I freeze you in hell forever. Their everyday lives just kept blending together exactly like this. Mornings meant mastering the jade staff technique, and right after that, they were forced to strictly use purple cloud steps until dusk. But wait, the two of them had even more brutal training regimes. Sundown meant it was time for a quick all-out sparring match, perfecting the heart sword. Watch closely. Hongchu-san won 30 matches straight. Kakjoy just stood there with a quiet, knowing smile. Through all of this madness, watching the crazy dynamic unfold between these two guys, he noticed they just never stopped bickering for a single second. Keep this up, and I will literally lose all respect for you. I might just attack you instead. You dare attack me? Yeah, right, as if you actually could. Hilarious. Kak Jioi was still watching closely from the sidelines. Sometimes they looked like the absolute perfect master and student, Li Trung carefully guiding his stubborn pupil through every single little step. But literally a second later, back to acting like an uncle and nephew endlessly roasting each other. Why are your hands shaking like jelly right now? But Kak Jioi saw right through their little tough act. We both know they were just goofing off, but hidden deep beneath all that casual banter was a massive amount of mutual respect and high hopes. You could literally see the intense determination burning brightly in both their eyes. And then 3 seconds later, they were arguing all over again. Honestly though, that genuine bond left Kak Jioi feeling completely impressed by them. With sloppy moves like that, you will never ever defeat Chusan. I am totally winning today. Yeah, keep dreaming about that happening, kid. I used to have a master exactly like him back then. He couldn't help but feel a warm sense of pure joy, just watching them interact like this. Kak Jioi found himself completely drifting away, lost in nostalgic memories of his own past glory days. And that's where we leave them. Brutal training over, time to rest. Master, your dinner is officially served. See how respectful Senior Chu-san is? Are you taking notes yet? Yes, please eat well to protect your royal health, your absolute majesty. Stick with me, the rain is absolutely pouring down. Kak Jioi presses his hands together in pure gratitude. For a long while now, I've received an insane amount of help from you. Lai Trung nods right back. Yeah, fate will bring us together again. But the old man adds a warning. If you're settling in Chongqing, make sure to change your name. Because if anyone finds out about Chuap village, you are in deep trouble. No matter what the excuse is, you still killed someone. Cat Joy doesn't fight it at all, just nods. And just like that, he turns, says his final goodbyes, and walks away. Even from really far away now, Cat Joy just keeps waving at them non-stop. He really doesn't want to leave. After a while, he finally fades into the massive crowd rushing through the storm. Now watch closely. Votan's face drops with absolute sadness. He's really gone for good. Lai Trung easily reads the kid's totally heartbroken mood right away. You're feeling pretty sad, huh? Votan doesn't even try to hide it. Yep, because he was my very first friend since I left Sichuan behind. The old man immediately jumps on the chance to mock him. Oh right, that same friend who, in all your Tutam Kiem spars, you never actually beat, even once. Makes sense you're sad. So frustrating, you might literally never beat him in your whole entire life. You and I both know that hurts, but the old guy already bolted. Come on, I was so close to winning last time. Votan doesn't waste another second and desperately sprints after him. Old man, you could at least give me a heads up. Where are you going? Lai Trung doesn't even bother explaining a thing. Stop talking so much, just follow me, kid. A good while later, they finally arrive at a shop inside the city. The guy there spots the customers and immediately asks them, renting the forge? Well, the price is, but then he suddenly hits them with total pure disrespect. Do you really think you're qualified to watch his actual work? Lai Trung just gestures with his hand. You mean getting a front row seat? To see the absolute #1 blacksmith in the world craft? Votan is standing right there smiling awkwardly, while totally panicking hard inside his own head. We both know nobody's accepting that wild pitch. Stick with me here. The old guy is silent, deep in thought. After mulling it over, the blacksmith finally agrees to the deal. Just like that, Votan stands there, totally confused and thinking, why did he agree so fast? Lai Trung eagerly pushes the poor guy inside the shop. Since we're borrowing the forge, lend us materials and firewood too. The old man honestly couldn't care less about these two. While you're at it, forge me a sickle too. He nods and agrees without even a second of hesitation. Gotid boss. Votan lights the firewood, muttering and complaining non-stop. Forging a sword out of nowhere, just for a random audience. I'm not some circus monkey performing tricks. Lai Trung ignores the whining and just gives an order. Stop complaining and just forge the sickle first. Now watch closely. A super sneaky smile crosses his face. Right from the start, our trade agreement, martial arts and medical lessons were supposed to be paid in items. Are you planning to skip a whole month of tuition? The kid's face immediately turns pale at those words. That is technically true, but still. Votan looks super embarrassed as he admits the truth. I've literally never forged a sickle before in my life. Right from the start, intense flames begin blasting out of the forge's chimney. The old blacksmith watches them, feeling a little bit anxious himself. Is this the first fire lit in days? At least they won't have to worry about angering the fire god. The sharp clash of metal rings out with every heavy hammer strike. Let's pause a second. He just relaxes on the porch, quietly sipping hot tea while listening to the heavy rain. It sounds like pure jade chimes. Even if he isn't the absolute best, he's definitely going to become an amazing blacksmith. Suddenly, the old blacksmith gets hit with a massive wave of nostalgia. I was exactly like that back then. He lowers his head, quietly reminiscing about the good old days. Who knows how much time passes? But the blacksmith takes the finished product, absolutely stunned. A perfectly crafted, exquisite sickle has just been forged. I know what you're thinking. He can't believe his eyes. This thing? Votan politely hands it over with both hands. Old man, this is my very first time forging a sickle. Hope it's okay. So is something like this actually worth anything? Stick with me, he's shaking, too terrified to take it at first. But then, the blacksmith suddenly snaps to attention and grabs that sickle. He holds it up, testing the balance and that sharp feel. Votan is totally thrown off by this sudden, insane mood swing. Old man! But right after that, he unleashes something. A flawless, lightning-fast cut right in front of him. The blacksmith's face suddenly morphs, dripping with pure killing intent. That massive, beat-up old table sitting in the room, sliced totally in half with one clean motion. The cut is unbelievably smooth. The guy goes absolutely berserk, swinging his brand new sickle. Votan's brain finally catches up to the absolute madness. An elite expert? Then boom, the old man completely vanishes, leaving our guy totally staring into space. Votan panics and tries chasing him. Elder Fong, Where are you rushing off to? Now, pay attention here. Li Trung just calmly stands there saying, relax. Just prep the forge for a sword. They will be here soon. But a split second later, he totally flips his own words. Scratch that, they are already right here. Before Votan can even process anything, an absolute army of shadowy figures is suddenly standing right behind him. He is shaking with pure terror. They slowly glare at him like they want to devour him, swallow him entirely alive. The blacksmith steps up, holding the weapon out. Young man, this thing, but the very next words out of his mouth leave him stunned. How was this forged? Is it really that incredibly good? The whole crowd starts aggressively lifting their own weapons up. How on earth did you do this? You see it too, right? They are literally drooling for this crazy power. Some guys are vibrating with pure hype. A weapon crafted by the absolute best blacksmith, forged by Chung Kang. One dude even drags a massive wooden log into the room. The blacksmith absolutely loses his grip on reality now. Total, unhinged, wild excitement everywhere. Not a single tiny scratch on the blade, yet it slices through completely like butter. And trust me, we're watching them swarm our guy like totally starving wolves. That god-tier technique, you have to teach it to us. Their eyes are burning with desperate expectation. Literally anything is fine, just forge a weapon for me. A sword, start with my sword. No way, do my gear first. An axe, you gotta prioritize axes. Stick with me, he was sweating pure bullets hearing this. He honestly had no clue how things went so horribly wrong. Right at the breaking point, Li Chong finally stood up. He flashed an incredibly wicked, cunning smirk. The second they saw him, the whole group backed up in absolute terror. Without warning, Li Chong held his hand straight out. Then he made an insanely cheerful, out-of-pocket demand. The entrance fee is exactly 2 silver taels. Dead silence dropped over the crowd. Even then, these guys actually tried to haggle the price down with him. Just 2 taels, by the way. From now on, he's collecting an extra 2 taels right here. Exactly 2 taels, pay up. Meanwhile, on some distant dirt road, Gaji was walking totally alone. He just kept walking, pushing forward through the silence. Now watch closely, something suddenly grabs Gaji's full attention. He turned his head, staring hard as a thought hit. So this is my master's actual hometown. Just like the old man said, everything here is absolutely massive. I wonder where that mulberry field he always talked about is located. Standing out in the pouring rain, Gaji still wore a genuinely happy smile. Then, suddenly, a memory flashed about his master and the legendary beggar sect. Gaji stared down at the woven string. It was the exact same item his master used to carry everywhere. He gripped it super tight, completely filled with determination. After a brief moment, Gaji finally made his choice. You and I both know he's got to find his master's old friends. Through the heavy rain, Gaji went to confirm the intel. I have already heard the story, Pavilion Master. He sincerely thanked him, telling him to drop by absolutely any time. The great hero Hong. The Pavilion Master smiled warmly, hiding all of his twisted, dark calculations right underneath. Beggar sect disciples are always going to be completely welcome. Gaji played along, acting totally genuine as he replied. But the second he turned away, his expression dropped ice cold. Walking back into the pouring rain, Jae-hee quietly muttered, I only came because I heard the beggar sect was stationed here. Yet somehow, nobody even knows who my master is. Leaving for 25 whole years, I guess that totally makes sense. The beggar sect my master talked about feels completely different now. Who would have thought the Pavilion Master was sect-affiliated? Plus, you and I definitely won't forget that Pavilion Master's absolutely hateful, punchable face, actually wanting to be his master. Stick with me here, beggar. Sect rookies in Chongqing must pay an entry fee. Work hard enough, and earning that money is actually pretty easy. Kak Jioi absolutely grinds his teeth. Even for a righteous martial faction, paying money just to become a homeless beggar? Totally ridiculous. He just keeps walking forward, feeling completely alone in this massive city. Down these empty streets, nobody seems to know his old master anyway. Heavy rain keeps pouring down, showing absolutely zero signs of stopping. Kak Joy asks around along the muddy roadside. Excuse me, have you ever heard of someone going by Ma Ton K? But everywhere he goes, rude locals just immediately chase him away. Roughly 25 years ago, right here in this Chongqing area, a few locals actually seem interested. Pay attention now, there is absolutely zero clue about this four-knot beggar sect disciple. He spots a small group hanging under the concrete bridge. He instantly gives up, sighing. You guys probably do not know anything either. He turns to walk away quietly, muttering a quick thanks. Kakjioi carefully holds the precious token in his hand. Does nobody out here truly know a single thing? Suddenly, an old beggar holding his head sprints right past our main character. The old guy just desperately wants shelter under the bridge. So freezing cold. Kakjioi steals his fading resolve. Let me try one last time. He speaks up, honestly not expecting much from this random freezing guy. Hey old-timer, maybe? The old beggar turns around at the call, tilting his head in sheer confusion. Kakjioi smiles warmly and asks, do you happen to know someone nicknamed Ma Tonke around here? A 4-knot disciple straight from the beggar sect. He hung around this exact spot roughly 25 years ago. We all felt that hope. He hesitates. Ma Tonke? 4 knots? Was he a guy who looked about 10 years older than me? Yes. He excitedly jumps straight up into the air. Yes, exactly right. The old beggar immediately steps back, getting highly suspicious now. That clean-looking beggar who always hung around the local mulberry fields, right? Kakjioi gets hyped. That is right. That is the exact guy. But then the old man drops an absolutely earth-shattering bombshell. Are you completely mixing something up in your head? Brother Ma Tonke was only a lowly 1-knot disciple. The rain keeps falling. Kakjioi feels his soaring hopes crash completely back to rock bottom. But there is absolutely no way he ever passed 3 knots. Getting past 3 knots means you actually need solid martial arts skills. But he never learned any martial arts and was famously slow. So, absolutely no master. Wild, right? Stick with me, the beggar speaks. He spent every single day rolling around those mulberry fields, just to become some crazy ghost. Absolutely right. When I was your age, other beggars were searching for him too. Seems like he was in trouble. Rumor says he actually stole a precious royal family treasure and ran away downstream to hide. Old Lady Long probably knows way more about all this. Are you planning to go ask her? Watch closely, he sprints off before even finishing. The man is totally startled. Hey, where are you going? Heavy rain starts pouring down. The sky grows incredibly dark, with thunder roaring all around. He breaks down crying, gripping that damn token super tight. The river beside him flows violently. Kakjioi ignores it, unleashing all his anger on it. You stupid thing. Trembling, he tries to untie the knot, screaming out curses. Kakjioi even wants to bite the damn cord apart. That absolute damn beggar trash. 1 knot meant you were great at enduring pure hunger. 2 knots meant curing a sickness. He fiercely throws it hard onto the ground. You and I can see he just cannot accept this. 3 knots meant reaching 15 years old. He shivers, realizing his martial arts and staff training were all total garbage. Kakjioi screams with every ounce of his strength. Liar, was everything fake? Every single thing was a lie, you stupid fake beggar. Massive lightning strikes down right next to him. Kakjioi does not care, just standing there loudly screaming. He swings his arm hard to throw away the cord, but facing the violent river, Kakjioi suddenly hesitates completely. He stands frozen in absolute silence, completely unable to throw it. Utterly desperate, Kakjioi collapses right beside the raging water. He curls up into a ball, shedding heavy tears. Divine weapons? Protectors? Total nonsense. None of it was ever real. Just digging and scavenging for scraps, damn it. Suddenly, Kakjioi clenches his fist and plunges it underwater. He squeezes so incredibly hard that his blood vessels pop out clearly. Then Kakjioi slowly starts to release his tight grip. He feels absolutely torn apart inside, tears streaming down his face. Lips pressed tight. He hates letting it go. But ultimately, Kakjioi manages to release the knotted cord. Trust me, we will never forget that stormy, heartbreaking beach. Stick with me, his past is dead. After the heavy rain at the dojo, Wu Jin finishes training, completely drenched in heavy sweat. That is it for today. The massive crowd groans in pure disappointment. What? Already over? The old master steps up to calm everyone down. Come on guys, the master needs a break too. So the crowd finally backs down. Fine. I just want to ask one quick thing. Old master, about that fire control technique. Honestly, getting rid of this annoying guy is super hard. The hero is out, so stop your whining right now. He's about to complain again. But wait a second. Now watch closely here. He looks up, absolutely stunned. The beggar sect guy returns, looking utterly exhausted and completely battered. Wu Jin loudly calls out, Chu-san. They quickly rush the poor guy inside to rest up. After hearing the crazy story he just told, everything finally makes perfect sense to him. Wu Jin sits awkwardly, really wanting to comfort the poor beggar sect guy. He frowns, his face full of worry. You have not eaten yet? I know you are sad. But wait, Chu San denies it. It is fine, Xiao Tian shared with me. Wu Jin is totally stunned. Xiao Tian, the sweet little girl, offering him a warm bun. Eat up. Here, you look super hungry right now. The beggar nods, explaining it was a random kid hanging under the bridge. He frowns, muttering quietly to himself, I was not going to eat, but turning down food from another beggar is honestly pretty tough. Tsk! He violently slaps the poor beggar on the back. Chu-san, Wu Jin stands straight up and scolds him loudly. You actually robbed a kid for that? You are not even a beggar sect disciple anymore, you know, and you steal from a little beggar kid? The beggar fiercely argues back. I did not steal, he insists firmly. Let's go. I ask the same thing. He looks totally confused. Go where? Wu Jin flashes a super energetic, bright smile, and it looks pretty darn mischievous too. Where else? To go wash off that totally pathetic beggar look of yours, obviously. Later that night, the bright moon rises high over the tavern. The inside is incredibly luxurious and grand. Sweet music blends perfectly into the loud and super cheerful chatter. The beauty on stage has both stunning looks and pure talent. And that is where we leave it. Her music truly heals. Let's dive right into this wild epic feast together. Kak Jioi is just completely stunned. A super loud shout suddenly hits his ears. Chu-san! Votan eagerly pulls him drink up. Drain the cup. After downing that very first shot, both guys completely freeze up. Then they literally breathe fire like dragons. The beautiful girl nearby actually jumps. She frowns in total annoyance. These kids are way too loud. He pretends to love it so good. Kak Jioi cracks up good? I totally thought you were gonna puke. Votan just plays around. Hey, the legendary reputation of the top 3 doctors. You think I won that through gambling? He is absolutely loving this vibe. You absolute maniac. Watch it or I'll teach you a lesson. He isn't scared, just keeps going. The big boss is currently away. Waste any food, and you'll catch a heavy punch to the chest. Now watch this next part closely. These two clueless guys keep drinking. Whatever, man, just drink up. The beauty keeps singing her song. Kak Jioi pulls off the weirdest tricks. Votan stuffs his face until his eyes bulge. He stands right there cheering him. He is so close to breaking the ultimate bun stuffing record. Just 2 more buns to go. The party is totally over. By the end, they killed 4 whole bottles. Kak Jioi is completely stuffed, can't take another bite. He sits there with a huge belly. Me too. You and I both know what's coming. How do we pay? I am literally a beggar. I have never paid for anything. Votan laughs right in his face. Obviously we pay with money, you dumb beggar. He looks totally dazed. Oh right. Wonder how much it costs. I have 0 coin on me. He just laughs it off. Me neither. Kak Jioi is still half asleep right now. Seriously, man? You don't have any either? They are both totally broke beggars now. Then he literally slams the table, stands up and screams, what, no money? What do we do now? This is a beggar sect tavern. Votan smirks like a boss. So what? I am Lai Trung, one of the 3 legendary doctors worldwide. Trust me, this won't end well. Stop joking around, you idiot. He smirks playfully. With my crazy level, there's absolutely nothing to sweat. Votan bursts into loud, maniacal laughter. Don't panic. Now, stick with me here. In a flash, he literally vanishes without a trace. Votan pops up right behind the gorgeous girl, pulling a deadly little dagger straight from his sleeve. Time to settle the bill. With the completely unhinged eyes of a wild drunk, he stares dead at the sharp blade in hand. The chilling aura he radiates gives absolutely everyone goosebumps. The beauty turns pale, her whole body frozen stiff, completely unable to run. Votan swings the knife straight down. His movement is absolutely clean and totally ruthless, so crazy fast that nobody can even react. Kak Jioi screams in pure horror, Hey, what the heck are you doing? You and I never expected this. The shop guests actually start cheering him on excitedly. That drunk guy is badass. Drink some more wine. The pale waiter angrily questions the loudly cheering crowd. He yells, pointing straight at Votan, who is literally dancing like crazy. What are you even doing? The panicked waiter's loud scream seems to have finally snapped him out of his crazy drunken state. Seeing Votan's dangerously chilling glare, he frantically looks around in pure panic, shouting out, Hey, guards! Where are the guards? Hurry! He frantically dashes right over. The desperate waiter begs, Please, you have to think of something. While Kak Jioi looks as confused as us, a few guys charge forward. The fat dude bellows, Hey, who are you to dare cause trouble? Get down here right now. Even if you are smashed, you should learn how to drink with some manners. The guests upstairs just sigh in total annoyance. Whatever, man, it makes things way more fun. Exactly, this is way better than that boring loot. The two angry guards roar, "What are you doing up there?" Votan spins around, aggressively swinging his wine bottle. Doing what, exactly? Everyone around them instantly turns ghost pale. Cat Gioi is absolutely clueless about what in the world is happening right now. Right before absolutely everyone's eyes, a beautifully carved, intricate little artifact suddenly appears before them. He casually drinks. Votan playfully asks them, and I swear I laughed. "I am just doing some simple math. Do you want to stop?" The two guards step back, green with fear. "No, I am asking because the music stopped." "Stick with me," he quickly changes the subject. "Why not keep playing the music? We absolutely cannot ruin the great hero's mood." The poor beauty reluctantly plucks the strings. Every single guest stops eating their meal, watching his every single move down below. He just keeps on carving like an absolute master, that razor-sharp blade gliding right through the wood. Wu Jin's eyes are locked in dead focus, barely blinking. Looks like the tavern just got a brand new show. Finally, he raises his hand high. Now watch closely as he smashes it down. Chunks of excess wood go flying everywhere. Wu Jin has just finished an absolutely breathtaking, epic statue. Every single crazy detail there. Take normal craftsmen, literal weeks of non-stop work just to carve out. He loudly declares to the room, "I am paying today's drink tab with this exact piece." Wu Jin nostalgically remembers what the old master told him. "With this crazy talent of yours, countless people across the whole world would line up to treat you right." Today, those words are proven 100% true. You and I can agree, this thousand-hand goddess is terrifying. Tavern owners practically trample each other fighting to hire him. "Great hero Tang, please come to my tavern today. Be our honored guest. We have specially prepared a premium spring lamb for you." The crowd goes absolutely wild praising him. Truly extraordinary. Great hero Tang. Wu Jin acts smug. "Oh, this is just a quick doodle." He pats the manager's shoulder. "So, what do you think, boss?" The guy's jaw literally drops. A god-tier masterpiece like this in just 2 hours? Cut to another day. Someone drops off a towering stack of fresh buns inside. A huge batch of juicy meat buns meant as a deposit. The two heroes team up to hand this food to beggars. Right under the bridge, he gently pats the little girl's head with a smile. "Eat up and enjoy, little Tian." Little Tian grabs it happily. "Thank you so much, Hero Hong." He lets out a hearty laugh. "Hey, no need for thanks." Wu Jin secretly sighs in relief. And that's where we leave it, a rare, genuine smile. Stick with me here. The heavy rain finally starts letting up. Our two guys are just lounging inside. He speaks up and asks, "Hey, hitting the tavern again today?" He groans. "My head is absolutely killing me. Let's just take a break. Honestly lost count of how much we drank these past days." Vohan looks up. "Why do you want to go?" Cat Gioi does not even budge. "Nope, just asking a question." The rain is crazy heavy. He flops right back down onto the bed, lazily agreeing. Suddenly, a loud voice calls out from downstairs. "Great hero Hong Chu-san. Great hero Hong Chu-san." Both of them curiously peek down over the railing. He is totally surprised. "Brother to Tam Ku." They quickly rush right downstairs. Cat Gio is stunned. "Wait, Tu Thien is actually missing?" Tam Ku looks absolutely sick with worry. "Yeah, he always tells us where he goes. Plus, he is super timid. So on a rainy day like this, he would never wander off far. Now pay attention here. Those Trong Thuong Tai water bandits definitely took him." Cat Gioi tenses up immediately. "Water bandits? Are you entirely sure?" He nods his head firmly. Tam Ku starts explaining everything. Kids have been going missing occasionally around here for quite a while, and slowly, they figured out the dark reason. At first, everyone just thought they were swept away by water. But too many people actually saw those water bandits snatching the children away. He clenches his trembling hands into tight fists. Rumor says they are an evil sect, stealing poor kids for totally unholy and dark purposes. You see where this is going, right? What if Tu Thien was taken? Tam Ku is just losing his mind. What if the boy has already been horribly harmed? Cat Gioi steps up to reassure him. "Brother Tam Ku, let me investigate." He states it firmly. "I have someone on the inside I can rely on. Please do not worry, just wait right here." A massive weight lifts right off his shoulders. "Thank you so much, hero." Thank you, man." But when he meets that contact, the answer hits him like a total bucket of ice water. "I will report this up to my superiors. But please do not expect too much." Cat Gioi cannot believe his ears. "Do not expect much?" You and I know beggar sect disciples deserve better. The guy looks incredibly awkward. Let's dive in, we must act. But we have zero solid proof. Getting caught means we absolutely cannot fight those ruthless water bandits for very long. The pavilion master awkwardly explains that the timing right now is awful. He just doesn't get it. Bad timing? Juji angrily purses his lips, looking totally different from their last meeting. Did his attitude change just because the kid isn't here? He clearly told them before that they were always totally welcome. The master paces around, just making excuses. You're an outsider, so you wouldn't know. Every single spring during the heavy rains, the entire beggars sect in Chongqing is extremely tense. And honestly, this year the rain is way worse than usual. He just points his hand right out the door. The master flatly points it out. Just look outside. Now pay attention here. He swears if it rains 2 more days, the Yangtze River will definitely overflow completely. The master knows the brutal truth. A flooded river means people lose their homes to the water. Death is just business as usual. To minimize the brutal damage, the entire sect is busy building dikes right now. No manpower left to hunt down those water bandits. Guji is seriously frustrated but can't really say a single word. The guy is in a tough spot. Anyway, I will definitely report this back to the higher-ups. Jaji returns with the news. Sanju bitterly questions him. You aren't actually buying that, right? Believing those guys who treat us like literal stray animals just because we aren't official disciples of their sect? How could we trust them? Seeing the man shaking, he is totally stunned. Brother, Sanju! Sanju knows their current awful situation way too clearly. Yeah, they will build dikes, but what does that even have to do with us down here? That's only for the rich people way up top. Gaji stammers out a nervous reply. Yet he desperately tries making excuses. Even so, real martial artists are supposed to have honor and righteousness. He honestly can't hold back his tears. Those absolutely demonic and evil water bandits out there are also martial artists, you know. But do they have any shred of honor? So what do you and I make of this 10-year class divide? Absolute madness. You and I have never seen the beggars sect fight pirates. Just because some beggars died, why would the entire sect risk everything, all just to wear clean new clothes? The others couldn't stand watching this, stepping up to comfort the old man. But he's constantly terrified his dark past will finally be dragged out. He only cares about saving face. The old beggar's harsh words suddenly echoed right back in Cat Joy's mind. Time to finally pay the price. That guy won't last more than 45 minutes out there. He gritted his teeth in pure anger. Right, it's all just one massive lie from these pathetic, lowly beggars. I don't need to feel a single ounce of guilt. Now watch closely as everyone tries pulling him down to sit. Hey there, Tubachin. You know you shouldn't take your frustration out on Great Hero Hong. He is the absolute only person listening, standing right by our side. It's Great Hero Hong himself. So trust the beggars sect for now and wait patiently. Cat Jioi stumbled away in a daze. This wasn't even his real duty. Going this far was already doing way too much. He decided to completely give up. My obligation was already fully completed back at True App Village. Cat Jioi mocked himself, walking away completely dejected. No, even that so-called duty was just the pathetic bragging of a total liar all along. Let's pause here, because the person walking right past suddenly stops. She called out to him, Hey, you over there, is it you? The guy looking for Ma Tone K? She firmly introduces herself as Granny Long. What's your actual connection with that guy Tong Qian? He grew even more furious. Tong Qian, is even that name completely fake right now? Cat Joy swallowed his annoyance, asking her what was wrong. Did you hear he stole some stuff and bolted last time? Did he end up stealing a precious item from you? Granny Long frowned in deep suspicion. Steal things? She stated very clearly. Absolutely not. That Ma Tone K isn't exactly the quick-handed thief type. He definitely didn't take physical items. Trust me, you're not ready for Granny Long's shocking reveal. Because that guy used to steal people. Stick with me, 2 figures stand silently in the heavy rain. Even the downpour cannot hide Kak Joy's absolute shock. Kidnapping someone? Seriously? Madame Long's voice echoes right across the cold river. Her face genuinely looks even more wrinkled under the falling rain. This whole crazy incident happened about 25 years ago. Do you know about the massive civil war in Trung Khan, between the secular faction and the traditional faction of the beggar sect? According to Madame Long, 2 incredibly powerful sect leaders slowly emerged. The current vice leader of the Central Plains branch, Shikhdin Laokai, originally belonged to the secular faction, and the active vice leader back then, Liu Sonkai, belong strictly to the traditional faction. The situation back then meant constant, bitter, violent clashes. It might not seem like a big deal, just arguing over wearing clean or dirty clothes, but compromising on all these petty little daily disputes eventually piled up into some serious, deep-rooted bad blood. Watch closely, war finally explodes. Her voice suddenly reveals a heavy hint of deep regret, remembering the brutally blood-soaked bodies everywhere. Then one major event, Lu Sonkai died in battle. At that point, absolutely nobody could stop the bloody conflict. After that terrible day, the traditional faction was completely forced out. The blue sky returns in Madame Long's vivid memories. Hong Qian is running away with a child. On that exact same day, Kak Juoi remains silent, lips tightly pressed. Ma Tuankai had already escaped with Lu Sonkai's young son. We both feel that intense curiosity hitting him. What is his name? What's Lu Sonkai's real name? She does not hesitate for a single second, Hong Trong. The moment those words drop, absolute silence falls between them. A brief moment later, Madame Long just turns and leaves. You do not even know Lu Sonkai's actual name. I guess you are not the one looking for his son? My knowledge ends here, goodbye. But trust me, we're hooked. So that is absolutely everything I know about Ma Tuankai. Before leaving, she drops one final important message. If you ever run into Ma Tuankai, make sure to tell him that I am doing fine. Tell him to find me in Trongkan. Let's dive right in. Before Madame Long, just a single umbrella. Lying upside down, totally abandoned. After walking away, Cat Gui grinds his teeth, pure killing intent leaking out. Lies. Everything was a complete lie, the name, the martial arts. Even him being a legendary four-knot beggar? All totally, completely fake. Why? Why would his master do this? Hot tears suddenly burst from his eyes. He just can't stop them. Cat Gioi's entire body shakes violently, standing right next to a dam on the verge of breaking. He doesn't say a single word. Sprinting into the river, plunging his hands deep down. Cat Gioi starts frantically digging for something. Muddy water splashes his face, his eyes wide in absolute panic. Right now, his hands are completely stiff and freezing cold, but they stubbornly keep clawing away. Now watch closely. Why is he standing alone in a river digging like crazy? Dead, withered river moss suddenly snags right onto Cat Gioi's hands. The beggar knots. He stands totally rooted, looking up at the sky, his mind absolutely racing. The tide knots. The four knots. In a flash, Cat Gioi's dark silhouette completely vanishes underwater, leaving nothing but violently splashing river waves. The river current is flowing incredibly fast now. Every few seconds, you see him breach the surface gasping for air, then Cat Gioi sinks right back down into the dark. Gathering every ounce of courage, he dives to the very bottom. The four knots of the mountain protector. I know what you're thinking. Why is he crying? A sudden realization hits. Those knots were meant to hold a responsibility. His subconscious instantly drags him back to that distant memory, when baby Cat Gioi was held safely by Hong Qian. It was to protect me. Back then, his tiny face was completely relaxed, peacefully sleeping in those arms. While the old man carried Cat Gia all the way up the village slope, Hong Qian quickly brought the poor kid to his own home. Cat Gioi was cared for hand and foot, even getting a warm bath. Sometimes Hong Qian would just tease him, laughing with pure, genuine joy. While teaching Cat Gioi his first martial arts stances, the old master tripped, making the boy crack up, laughing like crazy. But those happy times pass way too fast, leaving behind nothing but a shattered wooden stick covered in blood. His master had tied the ultimate protector knot for his sake. Trust me, this hurts to watch. Hong Qian violently coughs up massive blood, back in brutal reality. Let's dive right in. Cat Gioi is sinking fast, desperately screaming for his master. Right in front of his fading vision, a thick rope completely covered in seaweed. Without a single second of hesitation, he grabs it tight. He uses every ounce of strength to pull it free. Because of this intense effort, his oxygen completely runs out. His entire vision blurs into nothing but sparkling deep blue water. But right before his eyes close, he actually spots a very familiar, friendly face. Votan manages to pull him all the way to the surface, gasping hard. Moments later, both guys are totally wiped out on shore. They are so exhausted they can barely even breathe. Yet Votan still forces himself to scream and demand, "Hey, are you absolutely crazy ruining your clothes like that, you complete idiot? Going for a swim in this awful weather?" But then, instead of an answer, a loud cough makes Votan jump up in total panic. Now watch this. Cat Gioi starts laughing like an absolute maniac. Sunlight finally breaks through after the heavy, brutal rain. He tightly grips that seaweed rope and finally speaks up, "Votan, help me just this once." Hearing those exact words, he immediately yells back, "I just saved your life. What more do you want?" Cat Jioi was waiting for that, flashing a huge smile. Save Xiao Tian from those ruthless river bandits. Votan is left completely dumbfounded. River bandits? Don't you have a slightly easier request? Under the sunset, he can't help but roast him just a little bit. Seriously though, couldn't you ask for something even slightly easier? Scene shifts. You see this too, right? His sword hands are violently shaking. Over by the thatched cottage in the field, something feels wrong. The locals are piling up sandbags to block the raging floodwaters. Meanwhile, the intense water just keeps rushing in. He is still shivering like crazy, but his mouth is running at absolute full speed. Got a plan? No, absolutely not. Realizing Cat Jioi's crazy intent, Votan goes completely pale. What? Are you planning to fight all of them at once? No way in hell. Of course not. Trust me, you will love this clever little scheme. We simply need to find Xiao Tian's prison cell. Stick with me for this crazy retreat. Alright, but first things first, they need to pinpoint its exact location. Hearing this, he quickly makes a guess. It has to be hidden in one of those buildings. Cat Jioi scans the row of houses and lets out a heavy sigh. We literally have no other choice but to sneak right in. Idiot, sneak in? Just look at the flashy clothes you are wearing. The moment he says that, a wild idea pops into Votan's head. Anyone could spot you from a whole mile away. So how about we rub some thick mud all over our clothes for some quick camouflage? Cat Jioi is absolutely dumbfounded by this ridiculous suggestion. Are you serious right now? You think that makes us look like pirates? Unexpectedly, Votan just smirks with an even slyer expression. Then maybe we should just go completely shirtless. Naturally, he gets hit with a barrage of curses. Absolute bastard. I would honestly rather go build some dikes. Now pay attention suddenly. Heavy rushing footsteps completely interrupt their little argument. They immediately scramble to hide behind a massive boulder, quietly listening to the conversation. Patrolling in this awful weather is just pure garbage. You actually think doing hard labor on the dike is better? Better than getting screamed at by the boss? Whatever, this is definitely way easier. Having to watch the captain's angry face while building barricades. Yeah, at this terrible point, Cat Jioi's face starts turning completely pale. I know what you're thinking. Votan has the exact same thought. We are so totally doomed. The two guards keep looking around, carefully observing the whole area. They just keep walking right down the forest path. Seeing this, he instantly gets super suspicious. What kind of basic pirates actually have an organized patrol team? Starting a fight right here is a terrible, terrible idea. Despite all that logic, nothing can hide the intense trembling taking over Votan. I'm literally shaking over here. Let's just wait for them to pass by. However, brutal reality is never a dream. He is squeezing tightly into the hiding spot with him, with a deeply uneasy feeling. Wait, at this walking speed, they will definitely spot us here. Can we please just hide under the bridge? But that tiny spot isn't enough for both. And then, a sudden crashing sound. Trust me, you'll hear that loud crash hit his ear. Stick with me. Cat Jioi changes hiding spots. Right after, he throws up a quick series of hand signals. Votan quickly translates them. I will hide behind the rock. You take cover over there. He finally lets out a small sigh of pure relief. Okay, the heavy rain is drowning out most of the noise. We should be perfectly fine. Honestly, he is actually thinking pretty clearly in this intense situation. A heavy boot quickly steps onto the high stone stairs. Two guards walk past the exact rock where Votan is hiding, faces dead serious. Completely clueless, the two of them just walk right on past. Over there, Cat Jioi throws up a thumbs up. Mission successful. Seeing that, he immediately signals right back to him. Perfect. Things are going great. Sneaking in is surprisingly super easy today. But watch closely. Cat Jioi's shadow is slowly fading away. Cold sweat instantly drops down his face. Wait, what? Votan cannot even process it. Before he can stop him, he charges out, slashing down. He unleashes the epic twin sphere technique. Cat Jioi rushes into a direct fight with both guards, making him panic and dash right out. He is already completely exhausted from that previous crazy battle. Thanks to that split-second distraction, two massive shadows suddenly block Cat Jioi right in his tracks. What the heck? Despite trying, he cannot even move a muscle. Over on his end, Votan turns totally pale, completely drained of any blood. That twin sphere technique. You and I both know that strike needed to hit perfectly. The two guards raise their voices, yelling like absolute bosses. Where do you think you are? Blocking the path of your seniors like this? You want me to crack your skull open? Cat Jioi is still super dizzy, mumbling his words completely incoherently. Right behind his back, though, a pair of legs comes sprinting in extremely hot. Votan screams furiously in absolute, pure desperation. Wake up and get on your feet, you absolute idiot. That exact loud shout instantly triggers massive anger in the big guard. So there is another rat hiding in the dark? You stubborn little brats. Both sides instantly clash head-on without saying another word. You kids are still way too green for this. He ruthlessly swings his massive sword, roaring out, I will kill you all. Trust me, this gets crazy. Stick with me here. This aura he feels is absolutely terrifying. It feels exactly like diving straight into a dark abyss. Votan's eyes suddenly go wide open. But backing down? Not an option. Right then, the face of Li Trung flashes through his mind. The horizontal/technique. Just like those words. Votan slowly figures it out. How to perfectly block that guy's opening move. It is a massive, sweeping horizontal strike. In his eyes, there is only that towering, massive figure left. A wide slash that leaves a completely terrifying dead space. He drops low, dashing right in, exactly as Votan had predicted. The enemy is totally stunned by his sudden wild move. Now watch this. Votan instantly strikes back. 3 fake strikes, then raising the blade. Just as they slow down, the moment his sword pierces right through the guy's chest, aiming straight for the heart. That is exactly when his racing thoughts finally stop completely. Seeing his partner drop, the other guy goes totally berserk and charges. I am going to end you. Votan's eyes widen, silently praying for just a little luck. Please, let this go exactly as planned. He pulls off that exact same crazy move one more time, starting off with a fake-out strike. Just like he did before, his glowing blade thrusts directly toward the last remaining enemy. The guy's helmet gets completely slashed open by Votan. You saw that too, right? Even he can't believe it. Right before collapsing, Votan only hears one word of praise. A true master. A moment later, the new guy starts talking, speaking up after seeing his face stained completely red. Hey, you still have some blood all over you. Hearing this, Votan wipes it off. Huh? Thanks, man. Then the two of them start sneaking around outside the houses. Is nobody around because they are all out building the dike? While those water bandits are still away from here, we need to check every single house. Did they all really leave at once? Makes you think. Votan doesn't overthink it and just agrees. Probably so. Suddenly, he notices the bright red stain right on his shirt, and casually rubs it a bit. Let's dive in. He smacks Votan's shoulder, urging him, You idiot! Focus up, you really think this counts as sneaking in? Next time, if you don't show up right on time, we are totally dead. He just couldn't hold back his harsh scolding. You literally don't even know what sneaking in actually means. If you actually wanted to sneak, you should have shut your mouth and stayed hidden from the start. Those harsh words instantly shut Kak Jioi right up. Well, about that. So he quickly tries to save face by totally changing the subject. You are the one who cannot read basic hand signals. Votan isn't having it, snapping right back. Are you changing the subject? Kak Jioi is totally cornered, arguing just to argue. Shut up, we have to sneak. Now pay attention. The first door swings open. He keeps nagging him, anyway. Just stay completely quiet and move fast now. Find Tu Tian and get out immediately. No more random fights, and stop shouting your sword technique names. Poking their heads inside, they only spot a massive pile of random junk. Literally nobody is in here. He suddenly remembers that earlier comment and starts getting super petty about it. Shouting technique names? But that is exactly how I learned. Votan glares at Kak Jioi, getting pretty annoyed. Your loud shouting earlier ruined absolutely everything, you complete and utter idiot. We only got through because I am a true master. You get it? Hearing that, he just bursts out laughing. A true master? You? You saw that too, right? He instantly brings up that unforgettable moment. Did you not hear that guy call me a master earlier? Yet Kak Jioi just cannot resist a good mocking. What kind of master has hands shaking uncontrollably? Just a few moments ago, Votan sneaks past the houses, pointing right at the very last one. This is the very last building. They are creeping around but still cannot stop their petty little whispers. Such a true master. Knocked down by my sword skills for a solid month straight. Quiet down, we are sneaking in right now. Sneaking. He gets overconfident way too quickly, running his mouth, recklessly saying, Hey, just relax. There is absolutely nobody in here. I bet 5 silver taels that this room is totally empty. So what do you and I think? He uses this chance for mockery. You have 0 money, you absolute beggar. Let's dive right in. Our guy could only complain aimlessly, totally judging the poor now. Do you have absolutely no conscience? Votan laughed along, pushing the door open. Just shut up. Kakjioi pushed it wide open, feeling incredibly confident, completely missing the 2 shady figures standing there. See? I told you so. There is nobody inside here. They froze up as 2 massive thugs struck a real gangster pose. Working hard on your patrol, huh? Hey. The 2 of them exchanged panicked looks. Yep, there is definitely someone in here. Now watch closely, because the door instantly slammed right shut. Loud, brutal sounds of a beatdown echoed from the tiny hut. Mid-fight, they even peeked their heads out just to check the coast. Much later, they finally dragged the 2 completely battered thugs outside. In a flash, those guys were tied up and thrown down without mercy. A shiny sword and a wooden staff pointed straight at those tough faces. Kakjioi dragged them straight down into the cellar for questioning. Where is the little girl you kidnapped? Twin Tails, the little beggar kid living right under the bridge. Votan lost his patience and went straight to threatening them. Speak now, before I poke a massive hole right through you. But the space all around them remained nothing but an absolute, terrifying dead silence. Sangtai laughed so arrogantly, completely catching him off his guard. So you actually know the underworld rules. You and I know that threat was pathetic, right? You really think rolling your eyes will make me spill everything, where the goods are stashed? His whole arrogant attitude was honestly just begging for another severe beating. You want to intimidate the great Truong Sangtai, a squad captain who has already taken over 10 lives? Then you have to do way better. At least make it scarier than the overseer's brutal torture methods. Votan, getting totally called out, ground his teeth in pure frustration. He actually thought just waving his sword around would make him confess. So what do we do now? Suddenly, a calm voice right beside him broke his racing thoughts. Is there really any other option left? Look over there, he is only terrified of the overseer's brutal torture. Votan turned back around with a completely shocked look. Another way? Trust me, you will want to hear the crazy plan, he whispered. Should they drag the manager here? Those words clicked. Stick with me for this wild interrogation. With that thought, he just turned away. Everyone watched him rummage through his bag, getting extremely curious. Hey, what exactly are you doing? But he didn't say a word, just staring dead at the pillbox in his hands. Votan looked at it, deep in dark thought. This was Wolf's Bane he carried just for pure self-defense, mostly as a painkiller, but it's also highly deadly poison. Mixed with ginger and herbs, it speeds up the blood instantly. Helplessly, he caught some falling rainwater. He didn't want to torture the guy, but had no choice. Time to put these pills to work. Watch closely. He just needs to fake a deadly poison. Votan stirred it, secretly praying the guy would completely panic. Please just be absolutely terrified. He kept his head down working, ignoring 3 pairs of eyes locked onto him. Tai Sang watched him messing around and got extremely suspicious. Seriously, what are you doing? Instantly, Votan spun around, aiming a sharp needle right at him. So, you want to know? Tai Sang's face went totally pale at that dangerous weapon. A needle? He pushed his acting skills to the absolute limit, flashing a twisted, totally unhinged kind of smile. Since you fear the manager's torture more than literally anything else, I figured you might want to try this little toy out. Anyone who gets pricked by this needle feels every single vein in their limbs. Votan got totally into character, his face turning pure evil, slowly ripping apart in agony right before death. Way worse than just stabbing a hole in your chest. That patrol guy died the exact same way. He shoved it closer. You and I see his panic. Will he confess? Tai Sang's eyes went wide as he desperately stammered. Stop bluffing. A simple swordsman like you definitely doesn't know poison arts. Votan got provoked, his eyes glaring, pure, raging red. Fine then, see for yourself if this is just a bluff. He was forced to actually prick the guy. Without measuring the dose, even he had 0 clue what would happen. If this dose was too light, he'd stay stubborn. We'll see what happens. He thought he was finished. Watch closely. He slammed the needle right into his chest. Tai Sang instantly tensed his whole body, but there was absolutely no damage. See that right there? Nothing happened to him, but mid-sentence? Boom. He coughed up a massive mouthful of blood. His lackey stared in absolute shock as he froze. Captain, right in front of him, the captain's body turned pitch black. Votan went totally pale, completely caught off guard by this. Tai Sang's eyes were suddenly filled with terrifying black veins. Then his pupils just vanished completely, while a sinister dark aura exploded from his entire body. The hand holding that needle started shaking out of control. Votan couldn't even keep his voice steady anymore. He is dead. Even the lackey was totally horrified by this brutal sight. Captain! Now pay attention. He gave him zero time to react. Votan quickly grabbed him right by the throat. The vicious threat made the guy's eyes bulge wide open. If you know I'm not just bluffing right now, then you better start talking. He was totally shaken by that insane look. Where is the girl? Out in the rain, he had no choice but to confess about the glowing cave. In the cave, she is inside. Right at the entrance, golden torches flickered deep inside the dark. The two of them finally tracked it down here. They casually grabbed one of the torches off the wall, and Votan led the way, carrying the only light source. To protect Chusan, they use a sharp sword. To save Tuthien, they use ancient healing arts. I have taken lives before, once on purpose, and once as a total accident. Both of them were walking deeper into a deadly trap. You and I both know that wasn't an accident, right? Cat Jioi looked at his absolute silence and felt totally confused. His voice came out a little bit hesitant and unsure. Could the guy with the huge scar really be an accident? Votan's face grew darker, but he stubbornly stood his ground. Why not? When someone takes over 10 lives, the monster bragging about his crimes deserves to be completely wiped out. His harsh words quickly made Cat Jioi start to waver. Even if it was an accident, I do not regret it. He hurried him along. Trust me, you'll want what's next. We must find Tuthien immediately. This heavy rain is purely miserable. He just followed behind, keeping his mouth entirely shut. But stick with me, because Cat Jioi is hiding some heavy inner demons. Did I make a massive mistake back there? Even with that doubt, his legs kept moving forward. Turning back now absolutely wouldn't change a single thing. This is all my fault. Before he could spiral into his thoughts, Cat Jioi suddenly froze in shock. Two dark tunnel entrances appeared right in front of them. A crossroads. Making a choice about which path to take ahead was brutally hard. Which way do we go? This side smells incredibly awful. The other side has zero smell at all. Could there be armed guards stationed on both sides? So he decided to take a huge risk. Or while they guard the area, we sneak over to check it out. He was still hesitating right there. But before he could say a word, Cat Jioi grabbed Votan's arm. Wait a second, someone is coming. He pressed his ear to the ground, making the tension skyrocket instantly. Pay attention here after listening closely. Cat Jioi's expression was totally abnormal. Seeing that serious reaction made him panic even more. People? How many of them are there? He looked up helplessly, his voice completely trembling as he finally answered. Every single one of them. When Cat Jioi stood up, multiple enemy shadows emerged from the dark. He took a scared step backward in pure fear. There is absolutely nowhere to hide. What's the play right now? Votan tossed his torch aside and drew his sword to face them. What do we do? Facing this absolute nightmare, his face went completely dead serious. Gripping his blade tight, the only option was dragging enemies down to the grave. With that said, Votan exploded forward with insane speed. He swung his sword wildly, taking down those water bandits one by one. Votan fought under the full control of those creepy white eyes. You saw that, right? Well, it was all just his imagination. That first battle plan must be cancelled. Just thinking about it reveals way too many fatal flaws right now. The approaching firelight became clearer and clearer in front of Votan. He instantly visualized a brand new battle scenario. I must rush in with a different stance. Trust me, you'll want to see Votan execute this fierce, brutal strike. Instead of instant fatal strikes, he just deals enough damage to freeze their movement. Then stick with me to see him handle every attacker. Yet every single small fry gets a chunk of their miserable life ripped away. Still, they keep rushing in, actually making Votan hesitate. No good. Fighting like this will just keep him cornered. In his mind, he pictures his own body getting brutally pierced by their bloody blades. Getting surrounded means game over, damn it. When the massive mob fully surrounds him, Votan can only tremble and curse out loud. Is there really no solid escape plan right now? Like those ancient medical texts he used to study? He never learned how to handle a brutal cave fight like this, and his mind is completely blank. Finally, he gathers every ounce of courage and draws his sword. But watch closely here. Begging for his life is not happening. The bandit leader suddenly halts his steps right in front. He shamelessly raises his massive blade to intimidate, Only two of you here. How dare you storm Trong Thuong's stronghold without knowing real fear? He heard the rumors and just had to ask them himself, wiping out both the patrol and resting units. You crazy bastards are the ones who did that? But Votan says absolutely nothing and just raises his sword. Driven by sheer adrenaline, he boldly provokes the boss right back. Why even ask? You will join them in hell soon. A quick glance shows over 20 enemies standing right there, way more than expected. There is literally no other choice now. He has to fight. You would think he'd be terrified, right? Not even a little. Oh, really? Fine then, my blood brothers. The arrogant bandit leader up front manipulates the whole crowd while flashing a wickedly evil grin. Nothing to fear. Take them out before the campmaster arrives. The mob simply yells understood, then launches forward like lightning bolts. Every single one of them is visibly hyped for this slaughter. Their only targets are the two tall guys standing right in front. On the flip side, Votan is already mentally prepared for war. His sword-gripping hand quickly tightens its heavy hold. He jumps up completely alone to face off against the hulking mob. Zero room left for any fear, and you and I know his only survival route means total bloodshed. Every shadowy figure rushing past takes brutal, direct hits from Votan. He keeps swinging his blade like an absolute madman. Stick with me here, because the enemy waves just never stop coming at him. Right then, a flash of pure shock hits Votan in the eyes. Damn it all. When did he even take out all those guys standing right behind him? He got way too hyped up and struck way too hard. But they just keep charging forward, so Votan cannot even hesitate. At this breaking point, if he actually stops now, he is totally finished. He just grits his teeth and keeps up the endless, brutal slaughter. It means certain death. But then Kakjioi suddenly leaps right in front of him. He completely stuns Votan by sweeping the rest off their feet. Kakjioi blasts multiple enemies away using just one single crazy technique. Now watch this guy. Seeing them flex makes the leader absolutely furious. So incredibly strong. They quickly fall back into an absolute flawless defensive stance. Then a sudden scolding literally makes Votan freeze right in his tracks. Wake the hell up, you massive idiot. Kakjioi throws out harsh words, but he is clearly just joking around. Trying to play the lone hero and die right here? If you die, who is going to help me find Tuthien? Catching his drift, Votan plays right along. Who is dying today anyway? Votan steps up to stand shoulder to shoulder with his buddy, yelling out loud, "Before I get back the 5 silver pieces I lost to you, these trash mobs are the only ones dying." Hearing this arrogant banter drives the enemy leader completely out of his mind, so he points and roars out loudly, "You bastards! Listen up, brothers. Do not even give them a chance to breathe. Close in." Following his brutal order, the water pirates charge straight forward together. He and Kakjioi keep blocking relentless, heavy attacks from every single direction. Using only a wooden staff, he still crushes half of the bad guys. Votan cannot hold back anymore, raising his sword with a roar. Kakjioi is not slacking either, swinging his staff with insane force. You and I both know what happens next, total squad wipeout mode. Just a brief moment later, their weapons are drenched in blood, defeated bodies completely scattered all across the ground. After that absolutely brutal fight, both of them are finally getting tired. Votan and Kakjioi lean on each other, almost completely drained out. If they get lucky, trust me, you are going to want to see how they survive this. But suddenly, his pupils shrink back down in pure terror all over again. Stick with me. This massive cave echo freezes them cold. The whole crowd is bowing to this absolutely massive guy, rocking a gnarly head scar. The boss. The boss is finally here, gripping a huge axe. His entire vibe is just terrifying. Votan instinctively steps back from that sheer intimidating size. Who on earth is this huge guy? He just flashes this completely savage smile, saying it is a total pity. Did you punks actually train your martial arts before daring to come here? It's been a long while. How totally interesting. Votan and Kakjioi seriously cannot drop their guard around this guy. The boss suddenly lets out this totally psychotic, echoing laugh. Watch closely here. That crazy roar is basically busting their eardrums. Votan quickly sizes up the enemy through all that arrogance. Does that creepy laugh hide some serious internal ki energy? He's got to be a first-rate master, at the very least. Kakjioi runs extremely hot though, boldly insulting him right to his face. "You bastard, shut your mouth already. Talk all the trash you want. You are nothing but a trashy beggar swinging a cheap blade." Kakjioi grips his trusty stick and fearlessly charges straight forward. For someone completely clueless about the beggar sect's golden rules, a beating stick is honestly just useless trash. But the scary boss stays perfectly, dead still. Watching that heavy attack rush right at him, he casually flicks his bare hand out, making the heavy stick brutally bounce backward. You really think I'm weaker? Are you seriously trying to make me shout my move name? I know what you're thinking, Votan just cannot stand still anymore. Chu-san. Meanwhile, Kak Jioi drops yet another massive strike with his wooden stick. Spinning around, he creates a literal whirlwind to block the enemy's path. Move name or not, I literally do not care at all. Kak Jioi's constant yapping gives the big boss a major headache, so he violently swings his blade. That is right, do exactly as you please. His vision is instantly met with that incredibly razor-sharp, deadly incoming blade. Keep talking if you have a death wish. Right at this moment, another weapon suddenly clashes super hard against his massive heavy blade, sparking a completely blinding flash of bright light. He successfully blocked that absolute monster of a fatal attack. Trust me, Votan swatting that leader's hand away is pure hype. Stick with me, look at this guy's smug grin. One single kick sends both of them completely flying back. A brutal blast of inner energy slams right into Kak Jioi. They have to use every ounce of strength just to stay standing. He is holding all the cards right now and acting totally arrogant. Meanwhile, our two heroes look completely outmatched right now, getting pushed further and further back. Only Votan knows the pure, absolute rage boiling up inside him right now. You might not match the old master, but your inner energy really is not half bad. My blood is absolutely boiling right now. Then Votan flashes back to exactly what Lai Trung taught him. The second your weapons clash, you have to end it fast. Now watch this. He grips his sword tight. Must go faster. But that fierce determination inside Votan slowly starts to fade away, replaced by pure panic from that echoing, crazy laugh. It has been way too long since I had a fun fight. The more he speaks, the more fiercely he provokes them. Come on, come right at me. Who is going to make the first move? Votan just glares at him, forced to swallow his bitter pride. Damn it all. There is just no way to end this fast. Votan's eyes dart frantically all over the massive guy. The right side? Or maybe the left? Seeing him hesitate, the massive enemy seizes the opening and charges hard. Not going to attack me? Fine, I will come to you. Votan literally has no time to react, flinching hard as that massive, deadly blade swings right down. I will take my sweet time crushing you, so try to last a little while. He uses every single ounce of strength just to block that absolutely terrifying, crushing force. You feel that? He is internally screaming now. Can you even call this a real technique? Just the raw wind pressure from that strike feels like it wants to rip his skin straight off. Despite his massive, hulking body, he is insanely fast, making his moves impossible to read. He keeps coming, unleashing a relentless barrage of heavy slashes with an absolutely terrifying, savage expression. The deadly blade arcs keep flashing right in his face. But compared to the old master, I can actually still track these movements. Right then, Kak Jioi rushes in to team up with Votan. He recklessly charges forward, screaming that he is here to help. Trust me, you and I are panicking for him. Stick with me here. Is this guy completely insane? Zero fear. But that staff? It completely misses him, not even close. Kak Jioi leaves a massive opening right behind his neck. From a distance, Votan constantly analyzes the whole situation. No, I can't actually see his moves. He's way too fast. This bastard. One spin of that heavy blade suddenly makes everything click perfectly. He is just playing games with us. Votan suddenly realizes the grim truth. It is the classic relationship between a giant cat and mice. Exactly. To this monster, they are nothing more than simple toys. Just a tiny mouse trapped right under a cat's heavy claws. However, he still carries the incredibly powerful aura of Lai Trung. But this enemy is facing a mouse raised by a fierce tiger. Now watch closely. He will absolutely find a way to counter this. Votan furrows his brow in deep, intense focus. They are practically squeezed tight together. If there is no clear path, I will forge my own. If that fails, I will bite and tear my way out. Every single time he gets knocked backward, he charges right back in. Votan cannot help but wince, hurriedly blocking every single incoming attack. The enemy uses the momentum to jump high, taking full advantage of his split focus. Unlike those Twin Dogs assassins from before, they only knew horizontal and vertical slashes, zero stabbing moves. Unlike a sword, a heavy blade struggles to slash straight up. You and I know even tiny differences matter. Shifting from a horizontal/right to a vertical one, it costs them a tiny fraction of time. His forehead is completely wrinkled from overthinking this intense battle. Gotta bait him to swing high, then strike the body. But before he can even strategize further, Kakjioi seizes the chance and lunges in. Bongdulakian inherited kick technique activated. Hearing those loud shouts echo past his ears, it honestly just makes Votan super depressed. Stop shouting your move names. Every single attack completely misses. You are just getting totally countered. Votan starts looking at this guy in a new light. This absolute monster is blocking every single one of my moves. Watching his ally take those heavy, brutal punches straight on, he immediately wants to charge. The two of them constantly take turns attacking this absolute beast. Kak Geo gets completely beaten silly. Makes you wince, right? Stick with me here. That sight made Votan's fighting spirit absolutely boil over. At this rate, neither he nor Chusan could hold out much longer. With that thought, he points his sword straight ahead. The enemy isn't just going to stand there, so he charges right in. Luckily, Votan barely manages to dodge the strike. He has to find a way to create an opening. Suddenly, the enemy's face blurs into an eerie shadow. Amidst the flashing blades, Votan almost takes a heavy palm strike. The villain arrogantly shows off his absolute superiority. Are you plotting something over there? Fine then. I will gladly show you a little opening. Votan's true intentions are completely called out, and he instantly closes the gap against that massive blade. Did he figure it out? Both weapons clash violently, sending bright sparks flying everywhere. Lacking raw strength, Votan gets pushed back almost immediately. Now pay attention here. Votan looks up and sees something completely shocking. Wind snake blade art. A shadow dashes across the ground, leaving only dust behind. In a split second, the enemy is face to face with Kat Gioi. Everything happens so insanely fast that even he is stunned. But what really makes the intensity completely explode here is that subtle smirk on his face. Damn it, is that guy actually smiling? Kat Gioi builds momentum from above to deliver a devastating staff strike. Right now, his glowing hands look like they are overflowing with burning power. But a second later, his staff hits nothing but completely empty air. A total feint. Kat Gioi charges forward barehanded, right in front of his eyes. You saw that too, right? His eyes finally shoot wide open. Matoanke. Even Votan flashes a hyped smile at the Matonke. But wait. The guy is only surprised for a split second before delivering an absolutely brutal counter kick. That sudden, heavy strike instantly sends blood flying from Kat Gioi's nose, but he recovers his balance incredibly fast, shooting the villain an absolutely ice-cold glare. Right after that, the enemy takes a crushing punch straight to the leg. Taking advantage of Kat Gioi grabbing his arm, Votan rushes in. The boss gets even more hyped. You are not ready for this. So it really is that pathetic street rat after all. This is just too fun. Without holding back at all, he viciously swings his arm, and then lets out a massive roar. Come on, all of you attack at once. Stick with me, this is where his brain kicks into absolute overdrive. Attack all at once? Votan shifts his footing to build momentum. This is the exact opening Chusan risked his life to create. He grips his sword tight, fueled by pure, fierce determination. Even if it kills me, I am rushing in, you absolute pathetic scumbags. Votan slips perfectly through the tiny gap right under his enemy's arm. His gaze grows even sharper, and way more deadly. I am trusting you completely here, Hong Kat Ki. Kat Gioi completely understands what Votan wants here, and perfectly coordinates to drag the guy's arm down. His blade is instantly pressed right against the enemy's neck, creating a brutal splash of red. Chapter 16 begins. Now watch closely, Votan swings his blade, and blood instantly sprays everywhere. The leader's head immediately goes flying through the air in a perfect circle. Kat Gioi watches the brutal scene unfold, and just cannot hold back a wildly joyful smirk. But the thugs standing behind them see this absolute bloodbath and immediately start panicking hard. Wait, what, is he actually dead? Should we just run for our lives right now? Only the new guy in charge stays completely calm. You see these two? Absolutely bitter enemies right here. He quickly screams out loud to motivate the terrified foot soldiers behind him. Snap out of it now. You idiots. Who cares if the boss is dead? Are you really letting those punks steal all the treasure? They are completely out of energy anyway. He bites his lip, glaring at him with pure disgust. This guy is annoyingly sharp and way too observant. But without giving Votan any time to recover, he raises his hand and signals everyone to charge forward. Little does he know, our guy already made up his mind. Even at my absolute limit, I am fighting until my very last breath. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, Cat Jioi is frantically messing with a medicine box in his hands. Before Votan can even step up, he already readies himself, clutching acupuncture needles as he bravely charges to the front. Needles tightly gripped between his fingers, Cat Joy finally speaks up. Art. Right after that, he fiercely swings his arm forward with a massive echoing shout. 4,000 needles strike. So what do we make of this? Honestly, it just annoyed him. Wait, what? Just because he accidentally guessed a fake move name once before? Stick with me. Did he just shout a fake move? Wu Jin followed the sight, watching those sharp needles shaking wildly in the open air. They honestly made zero sense with what was happening now. The moment they flew over and struck the river pirates, the actual result left him completely and utterly disappointed. They seemed totally useless. Like, absolutely zero real impact. Glancing over at Gigi, quietly holding back his laughter, Wu Jin seriously just wanted to curse out loud. What was with that smug look on his face? You absolute idiot. But then, a sudden groan totally grabbed his full attention. Every single guy hit by the needles violently collapsed to the ground. Now watch this closely. Did our MC really think pure luck was enough? Yet he was instantly terrified by his own dark inner thoughts. But wait, who actually killed this guy? Staring at the two goons foaming at the mouth, their furious teammate quickly stepped up and started yelling. You absolute bastard. What did you just do? He was visibly backing away after witnessing that insane instant takedown. Was that a secret weapon? Wu Jin had been waiting for this exactly, playing along to intimidate him. Exactly right. A deadly secret weapon. As you can see, it is pure poison. Instant death with just one tiny scratch on your skin. Even if it was pure luck, he absolutely could not miss taking advantage of this chance. I know what you're thinking. His bluff worked perfectly, making those cowardly thugs step back in absolute fear. Go ahead and touch me if you dare. I guarantee at least half of you will end up exactly like them. Mid-speech, Wu Jin locked his intense focus entirely onto him. Or do you actually want to stop right here? He stood tall, projecting absolute authority as he interrogated them. Like you said, what does his miserable death even matter? The treasure is the only thing that actually matters, right? Wu Jin finally revealed what his actual goal was here. But we definitely did not come for the treasure. We came here to save the kid you bastards kidnapped. Hearing this, the guy's expression didn't even shift a single inch. Do not tell me you mean those little beggar kids? The two of them just nodded silently in clear confirmation. He felt totally confused hearing those exact words from them. You guys do not care about the treasure at all. All for those beggar kids? Trust me, it gets crazier. Why should we even believe that? Let's dive in. Votan just calmly raises his sword. Believe it or not, that is your choice. But just remember, the final consequence is pure death. He turns to walk away, dropping one final, incredibly heavy warning. Since we understand each other, go your separate ways. The dark silhouettes of Votan and Kakjioi vanish completely into the deep, dark cave. Even so, his brutal threat still rings loud in the terrified crowd's ears. I will slaughter anyone who dares to follow me. So choose very, very wisely. He stands there curious, just staring right after those two. But suddenly, some unseen heavy pressure makes the entire crowd snap toward the narrow side path. Everyone immediately scrambles to run ahead. Watch carefully here, those two rivals are hiding, scared absolutely out of their minds. Hey! Stop pushing me. Get lost, I'm going first, jerk. I am the team captain. Why are we even fighting over spots right now? Only when the voices finally fade do they dare to peek their heads out. But a sudden desperate scream forces the two of them to turn back. Dad, hey Vice Captain. Tu Tian absolutely cannot hold back her heavy tears anymore, locking her crying eyes on those two familiar backs. Daddy, Vice Captain, Dad, it is you. Her heartbreaking cries quickly shift straight into pure, overwhelming joy as the warm sun shines. Her father actually made it back alive, and finding his precious daughter completely safe, he happily lifts Tu Tian into the air. After their sweet emotional reunion, they immediately go to see off their two incredible saviors. Kakjioi ignores his swollen crying eyes to warmly wave back at the group. Only Votan stays silent, staring deeply at the severe wound on his arm. We both see red blood still soaking through those white bandages. I am just glad he made it out safely, especially after being crazy enough to catch an axe bare-handed. He and Kakjioi hit the dirt road once again, grabbing everyone's absolute full attention. But thinking he used some cheap little trick there, it must be a family trait. Maybe so, but anyway, I am just glad that everything is completely fine. And this is where we leave Votan having a quiet chat. What is your plan now? Let's jump right in. He answers while walking up the stairs. Huh? No idea. Honestly, I've got absolutely nothing going on. Zero plans right now, so how about we team up? Yeah, why not? But obviously, that's just a total fake excuse. Deep down, Kak Jioi is scheming something completely different. He doesn't know how the righteous faction and vice leader Hong Dian, how that old man will even react, so sticking around here is a death wish. Wait a minute. Wouldn't tagging along put both him and Votan in massive danger? Now watch closely. Votan immediately starts playfully roasting him. I don't really care, but you, a beggar who barely just survived, now begging to run away with me. Are you really serious? Is getting ridiculously shameless like this, every time a massive crisis hits, actually some kind of superpower? Kak Jioi is absolutely fuming, practically blowing smoke. What the heck? That wasn't begging, it was a straight demand. No, an official proposal. Reaching the room, he starts negotiating who pays for their meals, who covers the drinks, who buys the new gear. Since his reputation is ruined anyway, he fully embraces the freeloader life. You punk. I don't even need new clothes. Votan just keeps zeroing in on Kak Jioi's words, ruthlessly teasing him. At this point, isn't that moving way past just begging and straight into professional freeloading? You and I know that won't last. Their smiles instantly vanish, thanks to a heavy, stern voice. Looking at the state of you, seems like you boys had way too much fun these past days. While I was away, huh? Lai Trung casually sips his tea, throwing out the question. The sword I ordered for you works well, doesn't it? He spots the old master and happily runs in like seeing his dad. Hey, old master. It wasn't that fun at all. What have you been doing lately? Old master, you literally took 100 silver taels from us. Lai Trung instantly looks awkward. So what do we think he's hiding? I had some things on my mind, so I went walking around. Stick with me here even though I blew all my silver gambling. Luckily, Honggeji is also hanging around here today. He cut the chatter and got right to business. Both of you, sit down. Do you guys know about the crazy ancient grudge between the righteous faction and the beggar sect right here in central capital? Meanwhile, just outside the inn, crazy news was totally blowing up. Did you hear the boss of Chongshang Stronghold is dead? Wait, the stronghold leader was actually taken out? Watch closely, every single person walking by is insanely curious. Word is 2 young kids pulled it off. Like, what? Are they rising stars coming out of some massive, totally overpowered clan? Even all the way out by the coast, rumors are flying. Nope, I heard one of them is a Tang clan blacksmith. How could a blacksmith win? I honestly have no clue about that. But while the massive crowd boarded the huge ship, the locals kept whispering about the whole mess. Those bandits are a total headache. They will not show up again, right? Do you actually believe that garbage? They are just hiding right now and will strike again. The wild gossip echoed everywhere as the massive ship set sail. Is there any total trash that flies will not swarm? Exactly right. The guy in charge of the dock quickly fired off a signal. Setting sail for southern capital, the massive ship finally pushed out into the ocean. As we left the central capital, I know you felt those stronghold rumors shaking the city. High up on the deck, Wu Jin and Gaji just stared at the open ocean. It has been half a month since we hurriedly escaped central capital. He smiled to himself, holding a massive bag of heavy silver. That sudden, intense life or death clash brought in an absolutely insane, unexpected reward. Everyone was super happy to hand their cash to Wu Jin. Those loyal blacksmith guys literally gave us 60 taels of silver for ship tickets. And Chief Feng Ye tossed in 10 extra taels too. Only Li Chong and that guy actually tried to shake hands with him. We are literal business partners now, so we should split it 50-50. And that is where we leave it, Wu Jin just laughing with the crowd. You have real talent, and I seriously respect that. Stick with me here. Another farmer pulls out a massive bag and 3 solid gold pieces. Pure gratitude from all those local merchants, harassed by the Truong Thuong camp. Back to reality now. He is just lost in thought with his blade. But the absolute best reward? Knowing that the exact moment you need pure strength will always hit you completely off guard. With the moon sitting high up there, Votan just keeps pushing his training. If I slacked off on training during the trip from Trung Kin, if I didn't focus on my forging arts and properly absorbing the dark aura energy perfectly, those bandits would have definitely put me in the ground. Let alone the actual leader of Truong Thuong camp. He keeps focused on his sword forms. Now watch this. He ignores every staring eye. The boat ride to Nam Kin takes another 15 days. I have to train like crazy just to keep my own mind perfectly steady, no matter what time it is, or how badly I get shaken up. The guy standing on the sidelines watching Votan is getting pretty curious. Since when did he get this incredibly good? Ever since we left Trungkin behind. Our sparring score has been sitting at 7 wins and 8 losses. It is just that he gets absolute silence in return, while Votan stays buried deep in his own massive ambition. Taking one more step with his blade pointing straight at the sky, Votan finally finishes making his ultimate promise. I will become completely one with this blade. We both hear that, right? Sudden clapping. That sound instantly wipes the confident smile right off his face. This utterly clueless guy just keeps smacking his hands together like an idiot. He steps out using his pretty boy face to beg for forgiveness. Oh my bad. I stepped out to stargaze and just happened to catch you grinding away. Wait, is it seriously night already? And now, this flashy guy finally drops his actual name. The name is Nam Kung Mink. If you don't mind, can we have a quick sparring match right now? This ridiculously handsome face just glows against the ocean backdrop. I am Nam Kung Ming, first son of the legendary Nam Kung family, and basically a top-tier martial arts master. But right then, let that sink in. A flash of self-pity hits his handsome face. Stick with me, our guy is just drifting on a boat, heading home after a completely failed martial arts journey. Zero fame. Absolutely no reputation gained along the way. All he did was take down some incredibly weak bandits and a few low-level demonic cultists. He was terrified of his father's impending disappointment. But right then, Kung Min noticed a stunningly pale hand, and that is when he met her. A girl who completely ignored the Nam Kung family's fame, something that usually made every single person he ever met build up selfish walls and crazy high expectations. Her absolutely breathtaking beauty completely captured his heart in that instant. He had never in his life met anyone like her. Kung Min even blushed like a shy kid just thinking about her. Because she truly didn't care, now watch this, he poured his entire soul into wooing her. Suddenly, a single peach blossom petal dropped right into the water. He finally felt completely free. He used his light movement techniques just to entertain her. All his heavy family burdens vanished, just like morning dew. The way she smiled when looking at that peach branch literally made Kung Min's heart skip a massive beat. Spending those golden days together, she was just so shy, covering her face while gazing at the flower offered to her. You and I know happiness never lasts clueless. Votan completely interrupts. That peach branch incident? He held a massive grudge over it forever. Right then, this guy appeared. He completely ignored everyone staring and started shamelessly begging her, pleading with her because someone just got severe food poisoning. He said, "Please give me that exact branch right there, so I can use it for medicine." The inner bark of that cherry tree is actually super effective for curing severe food poisoning. The more Kung Min thought about it, the madder he got. By day, just a regular doctor on the boat, but by night, a full-on martial artist. But he could only stand there watching his precious romantic moment, literally given away by his crush. Patience come first, and Votan even politely replied back, "Thank you so much, miss." That infuriating scene instantly made Kung Min's eyes completely bloodshot. You really are a youth as radiant as a flower, yet he acts so friendly, trust me, you know what's coming. May I have permission to spar with great hero Duong? Let's dive in. His brain went totally blank hearing that insane offer. Wasn't this sparring match way more important than the legendary Namgung clan? Completely unlike our guy Wu Jin, Namgung Myung was secretly scheming hard for the girl he actually liked. I will utterly defeat you. In the name of Clan Namgung. His grip on that blade still packed serious, heavy power. She looked visibly shocked watching this ridiculous showdown unfold right before her. But the weapon in his hand? Just a basic wooden training sword. Seeing that made him hesitate a bit. Are you completely sure? Fighting a wooden sword with a real blade? Now watch this. Namgung acts tough, pretending it is no big deal. I am the one who requested this spar while you were training, great hero. He just kept rambling on, even though he was secretly jumping for joy inside. And honestly, realizing that a direct descendant from such an ancient and legendary medical bloodline actually had the destiny to step onto the martial arts path, I feel incredibly grateful to finally expand my own narrow view of the world. Thank you for being a brilliant shining light, completely decorating my otherwise ordinary journey through this vast martial arts world. Meanwhile, over on this side, she was still busy searching for someone. Excuse me, have you seen the young master, Namgung Myung, around here? Li Chung and Gakji just stared at her totally blankly. Wait, who exactly? Wu Jin was still standing there, giving a super awkward response. Yes. Then I will gladly accept your help. You feel that tension too, right? Inside, his mind was absolutely storming. I feel like I just got dragged into a massive, unavoidable mess. Right before leaving the Sichuan region, the mighty Namgung clan was basically just a living legend in Murom. But unexpectedly, this guy is an actual descendant of the Namgung bloodline, and he is clearly just trying to show off for a pretty girl. Wu Jin found himself staring right back into those wide, intensely glaring eyes, showing off 1,000 different emotions. And on top of that look, what he was actually projecting was just pure, unfiltered, absolutely explosive anger. It looked exactly like those annoying, dramatic patients who always visited his clinic. Thinking that, Wu Jin immediately shouted out loud, raising his blade up like a total beginner. I should just throw a half-hearted attack and lose in a beautiful way. He faked a heavy grimace, acting like he was putting everything into this. We both saw it coming. That little act made Namgung way more arrogant. A completely sincere, yet incredibly slow sword strike followed. Literally just second-rate martial arts. Watch this single, predictable sword strike with me. Aimed at the head, feinting toward the shoulder. His lips immediately curl into a massive, arrogant smirk. Facing a pure beginner, his mindset shifts entirely. He thinks, my urge to crush him just faded. Kung Min aggressively stomps his foot down hard, secretly boosting his own ego to the sky. No. Opponents exactly like this are the ones I really need to teach a lesson. He starts twirling his wooden sword, while mentally playing the role of the nice guy, so that later on, this beginner can handle himself against some random low-level mountain bandits. Now Kung Min starts scheming his next move against Votan. Just use the soft overcomes hard technique to smoothly deflect his incoming sword, then instantly execute the boundless firmament strike. He calculates everything while gently riding along that silver blade, while pretending to naturally follow his opponent's sword trajectory. Now pay attention here. Kung Min's sword suddenly makes a totally unexpected movement. He brutally pulls his own weapon back. I will change my sword's direction to deflect, and then unleash the boundless firmament attack. But then, the tip of Kung Min's sword unexpectedly just snaps right off. A vicious slash instantly replays inside his shocked mind. Was that the wooden sword tip that just blocked him? The ridiculously sharp blade flies straight past Kung Min's right shoulder in a blur, leaving him completely frozen. At this crazy speed, it's rushing straight for my shoulder. A sudden flash of light crosses his widened eyes. You saw that too, right? He glares at Votan with pure, murderous intent. Does this absolute bastard not even know how to use a sword properly? No, it was exactly my soft overcomes hard technique that accidentally made his sword accelerate, making him completely unable to stop. Just a second later, his incredibly precious brocade fabric gets slashed wide open. Votan glances back at him, looking visibly nervous. Seeing Kung Min forced into a hilarious handstand instantly becomes the absolute center of everyone's attention. Votan drops to his knees in pure panic, shouting out, I am sorry. I am used to sparring with real blades, so I accidentally made this wooden sword way too deadly. But instead, he reaches out a hand, leaving our guy totally speechless. Kung Min wiggles his finger, trying to look super righteous. No big deal. This kind of wild accident happens in our Namgung clan all the time. You and I know that sword was just cheap. Let's jump right into this. Our guy finally pops back up, bowing. He actually thanks him for teaching a brand new lesson. Our great hero, Votan, gets the hint and tries playing it down. He awkwardly denies it, saying he is the one who should apologize for offering a wooden sword. With totally terrible quality, he fakes feeling super awkward, just trying to make a quick exit. We literally do not have any other wooden swords left, so let us just end it here. But Kung Min totally misses the cue, dragging this whole thing out. By the way, that sword strike was absolutely next level. I did not feel a single thing from that hit. It feels like I just had a massive martial arts breakthrough. He refuses to lose this epic train of thought. Meanwhile, Votan is just secretly getting annoyed with him. He already gave him a perfect escape route, just by blaming everything on that cheap wooden sword. But the guy ignores it. Now pay attention here. Kung Min whips something else out. A beautifully crafted, insanely detailed, real steel sword, begging him for just a little bit more time. The golden symbol on it glows, seemingly absorbing every ounce of light around it. Votan completely freezes at this absolutely wild, crazy request. Wait, a sparring match using an actual real sword? Terrified of rejection, the dude even heavily swears on his honor, promising not to use internal energy or any dangerous, lethal techniques. There is zero chance he can let this flashy kid completely waste all of his hard work and effort. The girl nearby is so terrified she literally covers her face, refusing to look. My pure heart has just turned into absolute empty nothingness. You saw this coming, right? Namkung draws his blade. The Namkung family's 5 great sword arts, featuring 3 distinct sword styles. I will show him the ultimate peak path of the Namkung clan. He opens his mouth wide and screams out, "Please instruct me." Votan is genuinely overwhelmed by that massive burst of internal energy. Yeah, he gets totally dominated by the guy's insane aura and actually agrees. Just how ridiculously serious is this guy about that girl anyway? Moving lightning fast, he repeats the exact same defensive stance. Alright, here I come once again. Votan really does not want to humiliate Kung Min, stressing over how to respond. If it is the exact same sword move, I just block. The proper way, and that is it? On the flip side, his opponent has a totally different mindset. Same move, but the outcome changes entirely. In an instant, they clash again. Trust me, you'll love what's next. Stick with me. This martial arts clash gets wild, but Kung Min pulls yet another dirty trick, forcing Votan's blade to follow his exact moves. I will pay you back in full. But halfway through the strike, his weapon actually starts cracking. Kung Min completely freezes up just watching this tiny clash. My 3-peak sword, no way. He instinctively takes a panicked step backward. His blade is literally snapping right in half. Meanwhile, Votan doesn't stop and just keeps rushing in. However, the look on Kung Min's terrified face makes Votan widen his eyes in pure shock. In a moment of panic, that guy actually used internal energy. Kung Min realizes what he just did, looking totally stunned. I promise no internal energy, he thinks. Before anyone can react, Votan moves faster, pulling his sword away. Now watch this. Votan is absolutely furious about this broken promise. Great hero Namgung, you clearly swore you wouldn't use internal energy. Out of options, Kung Min has to swallow his pride and apologize. I apologize. In the Namgung family, fighting to kill is a habit. Please forgive my absolute rudeness during this match. But Votan isn't letting this slide, bluntly lecturing the guy. A promise is a promise, no matter what. You end every single sentence bragging about the Namgung family. It's super lucky nobody got hurt here. Saying that, Votan annoyedly sheathes his blade right back up. Let's just stop this match right here. As for Kung Min, he is insanely embarrassed, unable to say a single word back. But right as he lowers his head in defeat, you feel that too, right? His hatred is absolutely skyrocketing. In just a very short time, I've made myself a total laughingstock 3 times today, and I even used my family name to cover up shame. If this rumor spreads, I'm absolutely finished. Kung Min's gaze quickly follows, glaring right at his back as he walks away loudly complaining. If this was literally anyone else, catching me secretly spying on their training like that would have instantly turned into a fierce duel. The Namgung family really is incredibly arrogant. I just ruined a perfectly good wooden sword for nothing. I'm only holding back because you're from a great family. No, his eyes slowly shift right back down to that cracked blade. And trust me, he is totally stunned. No, the real problem isn't even that. Stick with me if he returns like this. His father and the sect elders will relentlessly punish him. Just remembering that terrifying dark face from his past makes him completely lose his mind. No. Kung Min's face instantly darkens, hiding some seriously twisted, frantic thoughts. My father is going to kill me. Even Votan can feel this intense killing intent locking onto him, but he just has zero hard proof. The guy's entire body is violently shaking, totally unstoppable. How did everything get so bad? I was completely wrong. I messed up. Please just spare me. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please spare my life. Just let me live. Right in his mid-panic attack, Kung Min's brain flips a switch. This isn't my fault at all. Now pay attention here. What exactly is that sword? A god-tier weapon. It has to be. That blade, wrapped in red iron, completely captures his greedy eyes. Throwing his pride away, Kung Min recklessly rushes straight at Votan, making him feel honestly pretty disgusted. Hey, you really don't need to beg for mercy like this. The duel ends in the weirdest, most awkward way possible. But eventually, Votan is generous enough to just let it go. Thinking about it, you actually gave me some really great conditions from the start. So let's just treat this whole mess as a minor accident. Kung Min immediately takes advantage of those exact forgiving words. Thank you. By the way, great hero Duong, could you sell that sword to me? I know what you're thinking. A deal? Nope, brutal rejection coming. Sell my own sword? I am afraid I cannot. That weapon is actually incredibly special to me. Even though Kung Min didn't get his way, he still has to swallow his pride and bow. I understand perfectly. I apologize for making such an unreasonable demand. Thank you for sparing your precious time for me. Have a good night. The second he leaves, Votan finally starts judging the guy. That dude is a massive threat in so many different ways. I swear, I have never seen anyone more selfish than that old beggar Hong. Thinking that, he stretches his arms out and finally relaxes. But little does he know, Kung Min's smile is slowly twisting into pure, sinister madness. Trust me, with 1 week left until we dock, it's definitely best to stay far away from that psycho. Stick with me, that endless wait is finally over. A whole week later, they finally reach the docks. Suddenly, a massive scream echoes from deep inside the cabin. My precious sword! Hearing that familiar voice, his loyal subordinates rush right in. What is happening? The scene inside? Pure chaos for Votan. Trembling over a pile of messy clothes, cursing that little bastard. Veins are popping right out of his forehead, radiating pure, absolute murder intent. Are you absolutely kidding me? Meanwhile, over here, that exact same sword is strapped tightly to a galloping horse. Now watch this, Kung Min had already bolted, along with his massive stolen prize. He gallops away, feeling an absolutely indescribable rush of pure joy. A divine sword, I actually got the sword. Just picturing his epic future has Kung Min feeling completely satisfied. My grand debut in the martial world is a massive success. Amidst the Grand Mountains lies a massive, incredibly huge fortress city, a pure display of their massive wealth and absolute, undeniable authority. The main gate stands tall and is built incredibly solid, heavily guarded by serious soldiers standing watch on both sides. A giant plaque hanging up high boldly reads Nam Kung, inside the massive fortress. You saw that coming, right? He strolls into a quiet alley. He gently pets and calms his exhausted horse, which is eating super greedily after a very long trip. You will definitely get indigestion eating like that. Just how incredibly fast did you actually run? The stable hand takes a really good look, inspecting the horse closely to make a quick guess. Seeing all that mud splashed right on your belly, young Master Min must be completely covered in dirt too. His voice sounds genuinely sincere and full of deep worry. Anyway, just hoping the results of this martial arts debut will actually manage to fully satisfy the strict family head. I was worried he would just get scolded after vanishing for so long. At the main palace, Kung Min is completely covered in dirt and messy mud, holding a precious item meant to be a grand gift, wrapped up very carefully and tightly. He looks up at the dragon by the door. Trust me, we can all feel that heavy pressure building. Kung Min quickly straightens out his dirty clothes. Stick with me here, he slaps his cheeks, hyping himself up. Right after, Kung Min kicks the grand hall doors wide open, screaming for his dad. His voice echoes loudly through the massive room, grabbing the attention of the Nam Kung clan's 3 elders. He proudly announces his martial arts debut is finally complete. And now he is back. Kung Min drops to his knees, bowing super fast, then pulls out a gift he prepared just for this. He quickly unrolls the thick cloth wrapping, revealing a beautifully crafted sword hidden inside, covered in some absolutely insane perfect engravings. Definitely not your average basic weapon. Looking incredibly smug, he announces he brought something super urgent to show. Now watch closely. Instead of cheering, those 3 elders stay chillingly quiet. One of them slowly walks right up to Kung Min. Chun Thian stares straight down, looking absolutely furious and deeply annoyed. So, you just got back and have something to show me? Must have been one seriously epic martial arts debut, right? The way he questions him sounds absolutely terrifying and cold. Is it really so important that you had to interrupt an elder meeting for this? Kung Min cowers and bows his head. Chun Thian reaches out and grabs the sword. The heavy pressure makes Kung Min literally shake in fear. Outside the Nam Kung gates, massive crowds are partying together. Vo Turn and his crew finally arrive there too. Li Trung clicks his tongue. I know what you're thinking. A huge party for a successful debut? That Nam Kung Ming guy. He must be the son of Nam Kung Chun Thian. Hearing this, Vo Turn is completely shocked. What? One of the 6 legendary masters, the sword demon? You mean Nam Kung Chun Thian? Looking at the huge banquet hall inside, Li Trung explains. Exactly, that is why they threw such a massive feast. And it was definitely a highly successful martial arts debut. Right? He flashes a super sarcastic and mocking smile. Mostly because that punk actually stole 4 legendary swords. Vo Turn's face instantly turns dead serious. What do you mean? The 3 guys, Li Trung, Vo Turn, and Cat Gie walk inside, while Vo Turn stays utterly confused. We're all wondering the same thing. How is stealing a success? Li Trung wraps his arm around him, ready to explain. All right, let's jump in. You think he will admit his kid stole these swords? Straight to his own father? Li Trung breaks it down. The guy is definitely going to spin some completely believable story about how finding those swords was pure, absolute destiny, just like that pedestal right there. Votan just frowns. Sounds way too fancy. But Li Trung? His voice goes up, super excited. No, this is actually playing out perfectly for us. A massive banquet with tons of people watching? That is the absolute best place to catch a thief, especially one whose dad is Nam Kung Chan Thien. Young Votan is totally lost. Do you actually have a plan? Li Trung just shoots back. A plan? You really think some half-baked strategy is actually going to work against the sword demon at his absolute peak, the guy leading the strongest family in the entire martial world? Votan cautiously shares his own take on it. Then shouldn't we just show up after the banquet ends? Wouldn't that be a lot smarter? Crashing this party is just going to make us more enemies. Watch what happens next. Li Trung bursts out laughing, leaving Votan completely stunned. You are way too naive. It is better to be a mad dog than someone they can easily crush. He breaks it down so Votan gets it. These noble elites? They think completely differently than us. Their family's reputation and face? That is their entire world. There is literally only one way to handle these arrogant noble families. Li Trung chuckles, totally amused. You have to drag their ugly secrets out in front of everyone, exactly like a mad dog. Right on cue, that man waves and walks over to them. He calls out with a massive smile, "Hey, Li Trung," greeting him like they are old buddies from way back when. I definitely did not expect to see you at this banquet. You guessed it, right? That is Nam Kung Chanda. Li Trung instantly replies to the greeting in the most savage way possible, leaving Votan completely horrified. It has been nearly 15 years now, right? Namchung Chanda? Does that left arm I chopped off still itch or what? Chanda's tone stays incredibly cheerful, showing off his missing arm. Trust me, you'll want to see what's next. You still running that same trash-talking mouth of yours? Thanks to that, I really stand out in a crowd. But you really should be saying, stick with me here, better to chop off a poisoned arm than die. Saying that, the old man turned and asked, by the way, first time I've ever seen you with backup. Who exactly is this young guy anyway? Li Trung didn't try hiding it. Just a doctor I happen to travel with. He casually introduced. He actually has some business to settle with your clan. Jinya went completely pale hearing that. Business? What kind? Right then, the loud opening gong suddenly echoed out. A servant's voice called out respectfully, Namgung clan leader Jin Chan, and the young master, Namgung Min. They entered to massive cheers. Pay attention right here. Hero of the Namgung, congratulations to you. Min walked up front, holding an incredibly detailed, carved wooden box in his hands. Jin Chan and Jin Zhong walked right behind him, keeping their expressions completely dead serious. The sword was pulled from the box, then displayed proudly on the wooden stand they had prepared. Looking down, the entire Namgung main hall was absolutely packed. Jin Chan flicked his robes, loudly welcoming everyone. Thank you all for coming to my son's official martial arts debut ceremony. Even though he lacks experience, he struck absolute gold on this first time out. He introduces the new divine sword. We both know the truth, so I raise my cup to heaven. Min sat right there, soaking it up with absolute pride. The guests down below raised their glasses to cheer. Please, my fellow great heroes, let's all celebrate this insane heaven-sent opportunity together today. Jin Chan lifted his wine cup high, bursting with pride and honoring the great Namgung clan. The atmosphere grew even more hyped up, surrounded by massive earth-shattering cheers. Glory to the great Namgung. Cheers to our brand new hero, Namgung Min, who has done such a righteous deed. Min stood beside his father, raising his cup, unable to hide that smug smirk. He was completely drunk on his own fake victory, and trust me, he has zero clue what's about to hit. Down at the banquet, after talking with Li Trung, Jinya was practically shaking in pure terror. His expression instantly went completely dark. That precious sword? Yeah, little Ming actually stole it. You and I are about to see how this massive lie unfolds. Jinya clenched his fists extremely tight. If the patriarch finds out, he'll absolutely destroy the kid's Dantian core. Worse, he might lock him in Thunder Prison for life. Wu Jin was totally stunned. Wait, completely destroy his Dantian? He quickly turned to question Li Chong. Seriously? You wouldn't even do something that brutal to enemies, but punishing his own flesh and blood that much? Li Chong looked dead serious. That is the exact value of a noble family's strict reputation. Now pay attention. What happens if their family's reputation gets stained? He glared right up at those two incredibly smug faces. He stated firmly, even if it is your own son, you must treat him like an enemy. That is the patriarch's heavy responsibility. Li Chong's deep voice held absolute certainty. Keeping the family name spotless is every single descendant's true duty. Wu Jin actually started to hesitate a little bit here. The guy is definitely an absolute bastard. But if I take the sword back, even looking at Namgung Ming's hateful face, he couldn't imagine the horrific punishment that dude was about to face. What exactly will happen to that awful guy? This heavy choice made Wu Jin grimace, clearly showing his deep fear. Suddenly, a desperate hand grabbed his arm. It was actually Jinya right there. He pleaded frantically, Dr. Tang, I will fully compensate you. So please, could you just overlook little Ming's foolish mistake, just this one single time? Wu Jin was just completely flustered. You felt that tension, right? Then Li Chong sharply interrupted. Stop spouting all this ridiculous absolute nonsense, Namgung Jinya. When you say it like that, it isn't a simple request. That is literally a straight-up crime. But his intense glare was even more terrifying, way scarier than the harsh words he just spoke. Besides, think about it deeply. How could someone from a sword eminence family like Namgung ask a proud martial artist whose sword was just stolen to just turn a blind eye? Jinya was utterly shocked. Wait, isn't he just a regular doctor? But then he finally had to accept it. I understand. Because he is traveling with you, Li Chong. Makes you think, right? He's definitely no ordinary doctor. All right, you and I are diving into this massive martial arts banquet. Jinya bows his head low before Wu Jin. He finally lets go of Wu Jin's hand. That is the Tang Clinic's absolute, final decision. But please, I am begging you to reconsider this. Jinya doesn't even dare look up. He desperately pleads, Myung-hee only did all this just to get his father's approval. Heavy silence completely takes over the entire room. Then Li Chung speaks up, ice cold. True justice absolutely must be served here. You make mistakes? Then you pay the heavy price yourself. Jinya's face drops. He looks absolutely devastated by those words. Li Chung keeps his voice dead steady. Look, I completely get your worry for the clan's eldest son, but you are the one who really needs fixing. Jinya snaps out of his deep daze, looking right up at Jikyeon's terrifyingly strict and stern face. Watch closely as he continues. The legendary Namgung clan, the one you and your brother fiercely protect together. His words hit with an incredibly heavy, intimidating pressure. Are you really going to make some absolute coward, who just hides behind a title, the next patriarch of this family? Li Chung starts walking away, dropping one final warning. If not, then do not rush to interfere. He marches straight ahead like a true absolute legend, completely blind to everything else except pure, unadulterated justice. His massive presence totally stands out in this huge crowd, but he doesn't step up completely, stopping just behind a few clan members. Suddenly, Li Chung slowly raises his foot high. We both know that grabbed Jicheon and Gungmyung's immediate attention. The raw aura exploding out just crushes absolutely everything. Wu Jin feels that crazy pressure and is left completely shocked. Jinya bites his lip super hard. Li Chung stomps down, generating massive, crushing pressure in the air before even hitting the ground. That single footstep makes the entire courtyard violently shake. Everyone stumbles backward, totally unable to even keep their balance on their feet. Someone completely shatters their fancy wine glass. Only Jicheon holds his cup, perfectly steady, staring down with a dark, terrifying expression. Li Chung calls out, "Hello there." Trust me. This guy absolutely loves a dramatic entrance. He confidently speaks up first. Long time no see, the great hero Namgung Jishan. Sorry for totally interrupting your big celebration party. Let's dive in. Those words hit Kungmin like a massive heavy stone. But I am only here to take back my sword. Instantly, every single banquet guest locks their eyes right onto Lai Trung. Pointing his finger, Lai Trung boldly declares, that is the Fan Lin sword. It belongs to that person. Nam Kung Chan Tien immediately looks up. Kung Min is the only one terrified to look up. Vo Tan is completely caught off guard, freezing up for a second. Chan Tien's pride takes a massive hit. He absolutely cannot sit still anymore. Eccentric Dr. Lai Trung, you finally show up after a long time, just to spout absolute total nonsense, exactly like your crazy nickname suggests. But you are never one to just invent lies. His face hardens instantly. What is the meaning of this? Kung Min bites his lip hard, shaking as his terrifying father demands answers. Tell me now. Votan frantically rushes to the front. Watch closely now. Lai Trung just smiles, fully enjoying the chaos he created. He slowly begins to speak. Young Master Nam Kung Ming, who just finished his grand debut in the Muram and has somehow acquired that sword. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Votan steps right in front of Lai Trung. Lord Nam Kung Chan Thien, he shouts out in a complete panic. I will explain everything. Chan Thien stays dead calm, carefully listening to Votan's frantic explanation. Just recently, my precious family heirloom, the Donan sword, was actually stolen from us. Kung Min bites his lip, his whole body visibly shaking now. Votan tactfully explains the situation. While searching literally everywhere, I heard a rumor it ended up with young Master Nam Kung Min, so I came here looking. Lai Trung actually looks a little bit satisfied. I know what you are thinking. The entire crowd starts whispering. Votan very cautiously takes the blame upon himself, staring down the dark, absolutely terrifying face of Chan Thien. Failing to protect our family sword is entirely my fault. He bows his head pleadingly. But please help me ensure my family's sacred sword stays safe and secure. Everyone goes completely dead silent after hearing that. The joyful party atmosphere instantly turns incredibly heavy and totally oppressive. Kung Min is totally panicking. Is that guy actually hiding the fact that I stole it? But why, though? Here is what stays with me. He nervously glances toward his father. Stick with me here. He had to predict the patriarch's exact reaction. Suddenly, Chan Thien left his seat and walked right up to the sword. He gripped the hilt and violently yanked the blade right out of its scabbard. Instantly, a blinding flash of light erupted right in front of Votan. That intense aura, spoken like a true clan leader. Poor little Votan had absolutely no idea what the guy was planning. The heavy blade was now stabbed perfectly straight into the floor right before him. Old man Lai Trung was absolutely eating this drama up. Now this was turning into one epic banquet. The clan leader himself stepping in to hype up the entire room. Chan Thien finally spoke up. Can you actually prove to me that this is truly your family heirloom sword? His intense gaze was practically oozing with overwhelming pressure. Because if you cannot prove it, you will face some very deadly consequences. Pay attention here. Votan felt a massive chill from that terrifying glare. If I fail to prove this, staring at the massive blade, he genuinely panicked that he was dead meat. Votan desperately turned to Lai Trung for help. What should I do? Please help me out here, old man. Lai Trung looked right at him and sighed heavily. Let us see. Exactly how you plan to prove this is your family heirloom. Votan felt completely helpless. The old man's eyes literally screamed, You are on your own. He darted his eyes down toward the sword. I already claimed it was a family heirloom, so I cannot just forge a fake one to prove it. Wait, what if I just say, I could forge another blade that looks exactly like it? Let's pause here. You see that crazy spark in his eyes? He realized he could claim to make a duplicate. He finally spoke up, catching clan leader Chan Thien completely off guard. Sir! Votan grabbed the heavy sword and spoke with insane confidence. This exact blade, the soul-severing sword, holds a massive secret. Even Chan Thien could not have possibly predicted that this totally weak kid had such massive guts. If I use my clan's secret technique in a completely empty room, his eyes glowing, Votan actually claimed the sword could give birth. Old man Lai Trung stood nearby, completely losing his mind. A birth technique? What on earth is this absolute lunatic saying? Votan just kept talking. He said it was pregnant and would give birth in 5 days. The entire hall froze. You and I just witnessed the craziest lie ever. Stick with me, the whole crowd just erupts into mocking laughter. It sounded totally absurd, so they started mocking him endlessly. Wu Jin gets slightly nervous now. A pregnant sword? Did I take this joke too far? Suddenly, Zhen Tian shouts out extremely loud, Li Chong, are you truly bold enough to vouch for Tang Wu Jin? His voice is full of pure malice and total humiliation. About Wu Jin and his utter nonsense. Can you absolutely guarantee that his crazy words are true? But nobody expects Li Chong to answer him right away. Of course, he declares it with absolute, unshakable confidence. Li Chong might joke around sometimes, but he never ever tells a lie. Everyone reacts with totally different, shocked expressions. Facing that incredibly bold answer from Li Chong, things have officially escalated way too far. Zhen Tian finally lays down the ultimate bet, Tang Wu Jin. Head to the abandoned forge down by the South Hill. But remember, if you fail to bring back a baby, watch closely. If this sword does not give birth in 5 days, you and this weird doctor will literally lose your heads. The scene shifts to the dark, creepy, abandoned forge. Li Chong sits quietly right in the courtyard. Suddenly, he yells out loud, "No way!" Wu Jin walks by holding some firewood, looking completely confused. "What? What do you actually mean by no way?" he slowly asks. "Are you talking about the pregnant sword?" Li Chong completely denies it. Whether that thing gives birth or nurses babies is not the real problem. He looks up, deeply questioning Wu Jin. "Why do you think I would rather be a mad dog, instead of being a weak, pathetic pushover?" Wu Jin tilts his head, deeply confused. "I mean, do I look like easy prey to you?" Li Chong just nods in agreement. "Exactly right. The absolute most important thing to avoid looking like easy prey," he adds on, "is that you absolutely have to bite back." You and I hear that slight frustration in his voice. In that sense, you are already acting like the ultimate, perfect, little pushover. But Wu Jin still stubbornly defends his own naive worldview. "I am not a pushover. This is simply the pure aura of a great master. Please, you have to admit that. Come on, an eye for an eye. A tooth for a tooth. That just does not suit my style." We totally feel Li Chong's annoyance. Stick with me here. Even the old master played along. He sternly set things straight. Kindness has no place in a situation like this. Most things in life can just be easily ignored. He stared at Votan, voice dead serious. But just like never repaying a favor with evil, never repay pure evil with blind kindness. Votan stood there completely awkward, facing Lai Trung-da's sudden fiery anger. No need for extreme choices, like chopping a radish in half. Plus Nam Kung Chanda and Nam Kung Min are both super grateful. They will definitely appreciate you now. So master, how should I perfectly explain all this to both sides in this messy situation? Lai Trung was brutally blunt. If you were just a border town doctor, totally fine. But from now on, your enemies are actual martial artists. He dropped a harsh metaphor to explain. Repay good with evil, and 10 times out of 10, everyone becomes enemies. But repay evil with pure kindness, and you are literally inviting wild dogs to bite your own throat out. Votan was still stubborn. Then I just need to keep showing kindness to people. One enemy is far better than having 10. That exact mindset proves one thing. You really do not understand true martial artists yet. Murim malice always ends in drawn swords and a massive pool of blood. Listen closely, the truth is always cruel. At this exact moment, deep in the dark woods, the flickering campfire flame had already attracted a hungry roaming wolf to approach. Lai Trung pushed his hand into Votan's chest. Enemies must always be kept right in front. He just could not hold back, and smacked Votan on the head to wake him up. Never create danger behind your back with cheap and foolish kindness. Even if you are bothered by what Nam Kung Chanda said, never let your heart soften. That is exactly my main point. Lai Trung sat back down heavily. Because you are a doctor, like it or not, you will have to show kindness countless times anyway. You must remember that harsh rule. He glanced at Votan with pity. We both felt that, understand? Whether good or totally bad, once received, you must pay it back. Stick with me, don't wait until you get hit to realize it. Outside, the wolf has already been taken down by a completely mysterious figure. Votan gives a single nod, making it clear he understands. Then he turns back, burying himself in the intense work, giving birth to the baby sword. While Lai Trung stands guard right outside the heated forge. 5 days later, almost all the banquet guests gather back at the southern palace, waiting for the final results. The child sword that Votan just forged. It has a totally mesmerizing, beautiful look. Its lines are still incredibly soft, and much more refined than the mother. The sound and path of the blade flow with pure, graceful perfection. Watch this, the enemy's blade actually just snapped totally in half, before anyone even realized it. The broken pieces hit the floor, leaving absolutely everyone in the room completely stunned. Their eyes go wide with pure, absolute shock. The legendary treasure sword is snapped right in two. Everyone is left utterly speechless by the child sword. According to Votan's epic story, this is a divine sword. Both of them are divine swords. The expert appraiser finally concludes that both blades are genuine. Kung Min grows increasingly panicked hearing this. You and I know one of these must be fake. I honestly thought, you just found a similar looking sword in 5 days. But it seriously looks like the sword that birthed the child blade. The appraiser inspects the sword with extreme focus. Plus, the sheer sharpness of the vibrating blade slices right through the air. The balance is absolute perfection, making it feel totally weightless. I cannot even tell which one is the original sword that young Min brought back here earlier. Then he makes his final, absolutely rock-solid conclusion. while Votan just stands there looking completely confident. They are like twin swords crafted by the exact same maker. Suddenly, Chan Tian bursts out laughing. His echoing laughter sounds way more insane than it ever has before. Just like you said, they are completely twin swords. Then Chan Tian unexpectedly points his finger in another direction, because the real mother sword is right over there. Votan plays along and lifts the blade up high. Votan fiercely swings it. He shatters the appraiser's blade. And trust me, both are completely real. Alright, stick with me. He lifts the sword, for the whole crowd to witness. 3 massive blades. Gongming still plays dumb, riding the wave, absolutely refusing to confess. I do not know how you did it, but since you proved you are the master of this sword, justice finally prevails. Suddenly, Wu Jin blocks his path and repeats his exact words that Gongming just preached. Justice truly prevails. It really is like that. Even an ordinary stray dog looks for a safe shelter, right before giving birth. Wu Jin actually helps Gongming cover up his crimes. Now watch closely. No matter what, he has a solid motive. This sword finally reaches young master Nang Gongming today. Thank you, young master, for guarding the soul-severing sword all this time. He flashes a friendly smile, handing the blade to Gongming. Please cherish it well. Sitting back in a fancy guest room at the Nangong estate, Wu Jin finally lets out a sigh of relief. I seriously thought I was completely dead there. Anyway, an ending like this is actually pretty decent, right? The old master Li Zhong just smirks, asking, are you talking about how you hid those violently shaking legs of yours? He still patiently warns him. Like you said, things went smoothly this time, but there is zero guarantee it will always be like this. Never forget about those hyenas. Wu Jin hugs the sword, breathing out heavily. Yeah, I will definitely keep that in mind. We both know it is not over. Li Zhong's words make Wu Jin really curious. Besides, this entire situation is not completely over just yet. He lets out a smirk. Debts always have to be paid back in full. Now is the exact time we collect them, my partner. Wu Jin frowns, asking him back. Collect the debts? Right on cue, a sharp knock echoes from the door. Gentian steps right in, holding his massive sword. Gongming follows closely behind him. Li Zong mocks them. Speak of the devil. That same intense gaze. Trust me, we are hooked. That aura? Unmistakably Nam Kung Chan Thien. Kung Min? Trust me, he just wants to vanish completely. Chan Thien speaks up slowly. First, I must offer an apology. My completely foolish son has committed a truly grave sin. I heard that my boy Min fled with the sword. Is that the truth? Votan sweats bullets in pure confusion. Chan Thien reassures him quickly. No need to hide anything. When confronted directly, he already confessed to absolutely everything. He returns the stolen sword back to Votan. With everything now clear, I must repay the heavy debt caused by his completely wicked actions. Votan looks up nervously. Repay the heavy debt? Chan Thien coldly turns to interrogate his own son, Min. What exactly happened to that poor servant girl, who stole a silver ring 2 years ago? Watch closely. Votan figures it out. Dead silence falls as everyone waits for Kung Min to answer. Kung Min trembles in fear. Her wrists were brutally chopped off. That brutal answer instantly clears up absolutely every single question. Votan and Lai Trung go completely wide-eyed. Chan Thien sternly continues. Unyielding eyes lock in. The absolute verdict is officially set. The sharp blade is drawn. Zero hesitation. And you're probably just as shocked as Votan. A father swinging a lethal sword at his son. Terrifyingly and absolutely ruthless. Memories suddenly flood back to an afternoon sword practice at the dojo. Young Kung Min was so incredibly hard-working and innocent back in those days. The Nam Kung clan sign and the massive dragon statue permanently burned into Kung Min as an unforgettable symbol in his mind. He reminisces bitterly. In every single memory I possess, I always hold a sword. Playtime gradually became intense study, then became my entire life. Always honest and perfectly precise, in practicing the strictly predetermined sword forms over and over. Deep core beliefs his father violently planted right into his young mind. That is the exact path my father and family paved for me. The path to becoming clan head, forged through absolutely insane discipline and brutal training. His father's terrifying face looms over him. Kung Min feels truly terrified now. I could endure absolutely everything, whether it was the strict discipline or those completely ruthless beatings, whether as a kid or even right now, whenever facing my father's cold back. Makes you think, doesn't it? Gungmyeong carried this heavy burden inside. That distant back seemed to tell him, "You are still lacking. Step up and be truly worthy of the patriarch title." Stick with me here. This invisible pressure just kept building. He ignored absolutely everything and cried out, "At all costs. No matter the price. That is exactly why I stole the divine sword." That desperate craving for simple recognition completely suffocated every ounce of righteousness inside. Gungmyung, whether it was cowardly or straight up dirty, reaching that final goal was all that mattered. If he just got insanely strong using the divine sword, maybe he would finally get some praise for once. But then reality finally smacked him hard. That was just a pathetic excuse he made for himself. He survived by clinging desperately to that one fragile lie. Right as his father swung that blade, you can actually feel that massive weight lift off him. But now, he needs no more pathetic excuses. Suddenly, a sword hilt blocks that lethal strike. The strike that was meant to sever Gungmyung's hand. Gungmyung froze in absolute pure shock. Without that crucial hilt, he would end up exactly like Jinya. Now watch closely, the one blocking Jin Chan is none other than the young hero himself, the unstoppable Wu Jin. Jin Chan immediately questions the young Tang hero, asking why he blocked the punishing sword. Was it not the hand's own fault? So shouldn't it pay the ultimate heavy price? Wu Jin grits his teeth, admitting it was indeed a mistake. But he throws logic right back in his face. "You have already heard the whole story, right? I was taught to return exactly what I receive from others." Wu Jin explains with icy calm. "But how could I possibly repay the massive mistake of young Master Myung? Besides, if the heavy debt is paid, that is enough. Trust me, that heavy mic drop left absolutely everyone speechless." Wu Jin immediately shuts down Jin Chan's entire argument right on the spot. Why force it? The messy knot has already been untied. Jin Chan sheathes his blade, quietly praising those incredibly wise words. He raises his weapon in deep gratitude. "Since your underlying intent was undeniably pure, I won't argue any further about this matter. Your incredible mercy has actually saved the precious wrist of the eldest son of the Namguang clan. Speaking as a clan head, a leader of absolute heaven-shaking authority, thanks to your efforts, we managed to completely hide the Nam Kung family's absolute worst disgrace, and we secured that priceless, legendary sword. So exactly how should I repay the 3 massive favors you granted the Nam Kung clan? How should I do it? Stick with me here. Morning breaks, sunlight washing over the vast martial realm. A loyal servant leads the way, safely escorting Votan and Lai Trung. All last night, Kungmin literally kowtowed non-stop, thanking Votan with total respect. He swore he would definitely repay this huge debt of gratitude someday soon. It looks like everything is finally and perfectly settled here. Right as they prepare to leave, the older servant suddenly asks, "Did you seriously forge that absolute divine sword in a mere 5 days?" Votan freezes completely. "Wait, you knew?" The smart servant simply deduces, "I just made a guess." Seeing your blistered red palms and the dark iron rust staining your nails, his eyes are full of pure admiration. This massive world is honestly packed with absolutely extraordinary individuals. Thank you so much for stepping up and helping young Min out. Votan awkwardly scratches his head. An extraordinary guy? Me? Yeah, I am definitely not someone like that. But let's pause. His mind is actually still stuck on Kung Min. Is that arrogant guy seriously planning to return the favor? Because that old master basically already grabbed every single epic reward he could possibly get. Yesterday, Lai Trung confidently demanded an insanely massive list of things. Full access to the secret Tianwu library archives, all the high-tier cultivation pills, rare herbs, lethal poisons, and even a hardcore sparring match with the head. And Chan Thian simply nodded along in agreement. I totally understand it. So what do we make of this? Votan is clueless, wondering why anyone would ask a kid. Hey, if he really wants to return the massive favor, that works. Suddenly, the older servant turns back. I might be totally overstepping my boundaries right now, but the legendary Shaolin sect is probably dying to meet you soon. Votan gets super curious. Shaolin, you said? The servant confirms, and trust me, watch closely. Ever since I was a kid, they have scoured the entire Central Plains, searching for uniquely skilled hands. Word is there is a complex mechanism they absolutely cannot fix up. Lai Trung sharply speculates. Sounds exactly like he means the legendary Wooden Man Alley. Votan is completely shocked. The Wooden Man Alley? Lai Trung finally answers. It is a completely unique mechanical trap array. Shaolin is right on the road to Luoyang. Stick with me. We should definitely check it out. After chatting for a while, they arrive at a massive gate. Lai Trung reminds him. But first, let us start with your very first payback. The huge door opens, leaving Votan completely speechless with his jaw dropped. The loyal servant introduces. As promised, you can read one single book while I keep a close watch. So choose your book carefully. Votan excitedly scans the room. Thank you so much. The master glances over as Lai Trung hunts through every book. Votan is super curious. What are you finding? Old man, epic sword skills, or god techniques? Now watch closely as he pulls down a beat-up manual. The cover title literally reads Running Monkey Magic Technique. Votan stares at it, pouting in pure disgust. Running monkey? I trained with a sword just to learn monkey stuff? The servant is equally confused. There are way better sword manuals over on that side. Votan just cannot accept this. Are there 0 sword skills? I want something ending with god technique in the name. Lai Trung flashes a totally savage, wicked grin. Just stop your talking right now. Memorize this entire thing before you get your power pills. Votan sadly replies, yes. Let that sink in. The servant brings back 3 really weird bags. Lai Trung asks, did you memorize it all? Votan is panicked. Yes, but I understand absolutely nothing. Lai Trung advises, that is enough. Just chant it every single time you train. Votan puts on a face of pure disbelief. Does this actually even work? Lai Trung cuts him off. Anyway, he suddenly scoops up a handful of those fresh hot goods. He laughs wickedly right before explaining it. Eat this stuff first. Votan feels completely forced. What are you feeding me exactly? That facial expression is terrifying. You see it too, right? It looks exactly like a parasite. Plus that super weird and totally twisted look from Lai Trung. It makes things even more disgusting. Tasty and nutritious, it is the 7 treasure snake venom.